Welcome to Aquarian Anarchy. We have a special episode here tonight. Thank you for everyone joining us on a Sunday. This is a beautiful day. We got Ken and Hotep. We're going to get to him in just a minute. For now, our quote, H.L. Mencken says, "The whole aim of practical policies, of practical politics, is to keep the populace alarmed and hence clamorous to be led to safety by an endless series of hobgoblins, most of them imaginary." I don't know what Marcus is possibly talking about when he suggests that to be our quote, but we seem to have imaginary hobgoblins galore running amok. And with that, I am Chad. You see Marcus down below. You see Nico down below as well. And our special guest in the top right corner is the one and only. Listen when he speaks, Ken and Hotep. Welcome.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody?
Glad to have you here, man.
What's good? Hey, I'm happy to be here.
We're so pumped. Look, this weekend has been an endless string of L's. The basketball team I coach for my son, we lost at the buzzer on Saturday. LSU lost yesterday. It's been ugly. Andrew Wiggins took an L today, apparently. Damn. I'm gonna keep rocking this Brooklyn 11 until Kyrie gives in, but I don't think it's happening. We'll see. But let's just get right into it. Ken and Hotep, we were talking about this right before we came on. I kind of think that your path to the Hotep's Been Told You and Hotep Nation very much reminds me of mine, like where it started off as you see something and you're like, oh, these dudes are onto something. And then you're like, oh, wait, okay. Not just are they onto something and can I consume their content, but I might be able to do something that can enhance and magnify, amplify, whatever you want to call it, what they're doing, what they're talking about. And so you start putting out videos, you start putting out your own videos. Next thing you know, your shit's showing up on the show. Props to you for that. You put in the work, you show up. And that's what we're doing the Men of Order blog. That's what Hotep Jesus tells us all the time on the Mogul Summit. They're actually, shout out to the Mogul Summit. They're live right now doing the Mogul Summit, and I can't be there because we got this interview. This is great. We got the great.
I appreciate it.
But it's something about that. Like we're just showing up and putting your stuff out there is step one, and in a lot of cases is really all you need to do because there's so many people who want to talk shit but don't do shit.
You're right. I mean, so like I was telling you heard it when we was at Hotep weekend. I've been for the past, I guess, since 2015, I've been paying attention to politics, like really paying attention to it. 2012, I kind of half-tail was paying attention to it. I would see things that didn't make sense to me. Then 2015 roll around, getting ready. We're in the middle of old Donnie T versus Hillary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, man, this is ridiculous. So, at first I'm sitting there like, all right, so do I vote for a war with Russia or do I vote for this dude that's just talking out his ass? You know what I mean? Like he ain't got no plan, no nothing, but she over here, she looking like she ready to throw fighting words at Putin, right? So then, fast forward, old Donnie T win. And then I start paying more and more attention to stuff. So I start seeing more and more inconsistencies. I start seeing a concerted effort to like undermine him and, the Constitution essentially. So I guess the first 4 years I just paid attention to it. I just, I'm like, man, this ain't right. This is what this is. And I'll be telling family members and friends and stuff like that. And then one day I'm just sitting in my truck. I had broke my foot. So I couldn't do anything. I'm just sitting in the truck. And then I just decided to pick up my phone. It was something that, what was it? Oh, so the whole impeachment thing was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd seen his, his lawyers and stuff like that go. So then I just decided to pick up my phone and just go for it. Then, I liked it. So I was like, okay. So I just kept picking up my phone every so often. I just give my initial thoughts on a certain situation. And then next thing I know, I was like, you know what? I can keep doing this. So then I went and got some gear, got a microphone, green screen, stuff like that. And I just kept putting out content. And then one day, at like midnight, HJ reached out to me through Twitter. I didn't think they was paying attention to me. I seen him retweet my stuff every now and again. And he like, yo, you got time to Zoom with us one day? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. So then, I Zoomed with him, and it was like, at first I didn't know what to think, and it was like, yo, we like your content, we think it's dope, and the fact that you supporting us, you got Hotep in your name, what made you do that? I'm like, I see what you guys are doing. I know that Hotep had a bad connotation with it, but I see how you're trying to flip it. I see where you're going with it, and I like that. Like you guys see from a 30,000 foot view, like I do,
right?
And I want to help, amplify the message that you guys are putting out, because I think right along the lines that you guys are thinking right now. So then next thing you know, they asked, well, hey, can you mind doing, a segment for our show every so often? I'm like, sure, no problem. And that's where that's how we got linked up.
Nice. I got to tell you, the for those that haven't, because we have an audience that's kind of divided between Hoteps and Anarchs, and which for me at this point there's virtually no difference. But for me, I came at seeing the Hotep content, whether we're exactly Anarchoteps, at the end of the day. For me, there's something about the energy that Hotep brings that I like, and I think it has a lot to do with heart. And it's not just, for instance, you or Hotep Jesus. It seems to be just about all of the Hoteps out there. Hotep with it, even people like Sonny Johnson, who might be exactly a Hotep, but pretty close. There's a most anarchists get that the government sucks, and they get that we need to replace it, but they're not talking about replacing it with something. And what I see with your content, with everybody else that I see in the Hotep Nation's content, is that they start offering solutions, and they start offering, ways to get from where we're at to something better. And that it's not just thoughts. Thoughts are important, and thoughts are something that leads you forward. But Aristotle said that if you just feed the mind, and I'm butchering the quote, but if you just feed the mind, and you don't feed the heart, then you're not going to get anywhere. That's not a real education. And what I see from people like yourself is, and we were talking about this before we came on, is that you offer with your content not only sometimes sharp and witty analysis of things, like whether it's Kamala Harris stumbling recently, or whether it's just pointing out how stupid people don't pay attention, but you do it in such a way that it is not only concise, so that it's not this 2-hour long explanation, but you also do it in an entertaining way where you laugh a little bit while you're, it's kind of like gallows laughter, if you will, but
right.
It's still laughter. So, did you kind of purposefully move towards the kind of content that you do, or is it just something that has kind of flowed with you naturally?
Honestly, I consider myself a bit of a what's the word? Introvert, I guess you could say. But the way I talk in my videos is how I talk when I do talk to my friends and my family. So the witty retorts and stuff like that, that's just me. That's just what I do. Now I consider myself a bit of a monotone as well. So that's why you get the music in with the video, because I want to keep everybody's attention. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I figured the music would do that. I try to pick a song or that kind of has something to do with what I'm talking about at that point in time.
Sure.
And I like to keep things short and concise, because nowadays, somebody's attention span ain't no more than 3 to 5 minutes. You got their attention that long, for a cup of coffee, and it's, so I'm like, all right, I need to keep this short. I need to keep this sweet, but I need to keep it informative. But other than that, that's just what it is. That's how I talk all the time.
Nice.
With your information, do you think like how your family is, and you like trying to tell them about it, would they be able to catch on with it, or would you be running into a brick wall when you're trying to discuss things with them?
So honestly, my mother, my father, my sister, my brothers were all the same way. We just if you get around us, we start talking. In some cases, they're faster than me when it comes to the wit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But outside of the immediate family, I definitely do run into a brick wall a lot of times, where I gotta kind of hammer it in, or just be like, you know what, you missing the plot. I just gotta go ahead and you do you got it. You got the argument.
Your way out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I've kind of noticed like when it comes to like trying to talk to black people, we stuck in our ways, like
Yeah.
as like a whole unit.
So are white people,
like,
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I understand. I ain't excluding y'all from being stuck in y'all ways, but you know, this is a black thing right now. So.
Yeah. No, I feel it.
But it's the
Do
truth
your
though. Like
thing.
I got a cousin who, you know what I mean. He listened to Dead Prez. He listened to Mobb Deep. He listened to all these so-called revolutionary rappers. But then when it comes to the Yameen, he like trust the government. I'm like, yo.
I'm like, yeah. Nah.
I'm like, wait. Let me get this right. So you
Turns all
listening to-
Lupe Fiasco on
Yeah, exactly. And I scratched my head like, wait, like, huh?
Like, where's this
Like,
come
yo,
from?
what is you doing?
Yeah,
like,
nah,
I don't get it. I said,
it's
when did
pressing.
right? You know, it's like it's almost like they want to be a part of something.
Does he have a degree?
No,
No,
he don't. And I agree because you know sometimes the smarter you are, the dumber you are. But
You feel
like
me?
the funny part is, right? he favor Hotep Jesus, right? So like I lied to you not. One day I'm at my sister's baby shower and my his fiance said, I seen one of your videos on Hotep's Been Told You. I didn't know she even watched the show. She said, I was trying to get your cousin to watch it because they look alike a little bit and thought maybe if he just tuned in, it could probably get some sense into him. And she was like, it just wasn't working. And I was like, look, I argue with him all the time. He told me crypto was for criminals and all this other nonsense. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, what kind of revolutionary are you? Yo? Like,
hey, you know what else is for criminals? USD.
The US dollar, US not lying, the stock market
Big
and
facts.
stole how much?
Big facts.
Bro, like the fucking everything, like the whole it's a damn cartel using that fucking greenback, man. That's the whole thing. The whole USD by itself is a
Right.
joke.
Right, he'll tell you about the Tuskegee experiments on one hand, and the other hand, go get your vaccination. I'm like, yo, you know what?
Bro,
go ahead. I don't know what to tell you. Yo.
It's like the people who are like they got like Black Panthers in their bio somewhere or something like that, and then they're talking about gun control out of the same mouth.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll be ready to call him. Remember Fair Convict from off of Don't Be a Menace to South Central? Yeah, he up there. He up there. He cooking bacon. Like
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar selling wine. And I didn't even know that. Unc told us that this week, and I was like, I didn't know Kareem was selling wine. I was unaware.
Yeah,
it's not the first thing that comes to mind.
Makes sense that he's selling the juice too.
Right.
Oh shit. Well, so let's talk about that. All right. So I got the Kyrie jersey on. You know, we had this was an interesting week in the NBA with all this stuff with the different players, the media day and everything, and everybody taking their stance and everything. So you had a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
You had LeBron kind of say that he said I did it, but he didn't say specifically what. We don't know what that means. I have my thoughts on that. You had Andrew Wiggins. Now he flip-flopped. You had Jonathan Isaac, who gave there's people talking trash about him, talking about how he's some kind of backwoods idiot, and now Jonathan Isaac, you listen to what he's saying, and it's like, all right, so what's your counter argument?
Right.
And then Draymond Green and even LeBron came out and said, he appreciated what Isaac said and what Draymond Green said, and there were some other folks who had similar things.
Right.
Where do you think? I have seen this stuff as like the sports leagues pushing with the way that they're restricting access to stadiums and what they're doing to the players. We've talked about this on I Got Next a lot, that it's like this first wave. It's that first blush that everyone gets with what this stuff is going to look like.
Yeah.
Now that you're seeing that conversation turn a little bit over the last few days, what do you think? Do you see some silver lining, some signs of hope on that front, or do you think people are putting too much emphasis on celebrities?
I think people putting too much emphasis on celebrities. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, they always waiting on what they're going to do. Oh, Nikki said this. Oh, now they want to get on the bandwagon. You know what I mean? Because they don't have no personality of their own. They don't have any thought of their own. All their thoughts are whoever is famous said this. You know what I mean? And it's the court of public opinion, and the celebrities run that. You know what I mean? Honestly, the NBA got the numbers. If they all decided to say, you know what, yo, I ain't taking that, and they all went on strike, what the fuck we gonna watch? We're not gonna go watch. What we gonna watch? Fucking high school basketball. They're gonna start putting that shit on ESPN. And that's the thing. But the thing is, they don't want to mess that bag up. You know what I mean? They don't want
It's
to
all
mess that
economics.
money up. Yeah, it's all money to them. It's not standing on their morals. It's gonna mess my bag up. Maybe Kyrie Irving's like, you know what? I'm good. I'm set enough to where I'm a buck the system. But you got a lot of them. They worried about their money, and it's like, if it's gonna affect my bag, I'm gonna just go ahead and get this jab, no matter what happens to me. When after I get it immediately 10 years down the road is what it is, you know. And like, no shots to anybody that took it and they feel like they needed to. All right, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, the fact
Right.
that it's being forced down your throat is a problem. And if you don't see that, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, and this is all economics. One of the things that I've kind of veered towards when looking at what they're doing is that I think they're trying to do kind of a rope-a-dope deal. When they rolled all this shit out initially, they basically were paying the lazy asses to stay home. They were giving them whatever money it took for them to not do anything. Well, that does hurt the economy. McDonald's is hurting like a bitch right now because they can't hire anybody to come in and work because they can't pay them enough to pay them more than they stay at home. Well, that didn't destroy the economy enough.
No.
So they decided this might, if they knew that there was going to be a large amount of the productive people that were going to, even if it's just 10 to 20%, that are going to say, go fuck yourself with that jab. And so that it takes a pretty big swap out of the people that are willing to work. And I think the reason that they're doing it is because they're going to eventually bring in like a new world order kind of, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Oops. but
remember we talked about code language.
I know. And then it's hard.
It's your channel.
I know these ass clowns are going to come in with a solution from, say, the UN or something like that and rescue the American economy is what they're going to, I think, try to do. And so what do you think about all of that? Do you think that I'm onto something? Do you think I'm wrong? What do you think, Hotep or Cannon?
Honestly, I think you might be onto something. I mean, you let my father tell this the mark of the beast, Joe. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You know, let my father tell this is what it is. You know what I mean? We're a family owned business. We have, and he's already said, he's like, yo, I'm not gonna make y'all do this. You know, I don't even agree with it. You know, I can't go back to church because my church said I can't come back unless I got it. Think about that. That's crazy. And you got other churches doing the same thing. You know what I mean? And that's where, like you said, that's where it's going. I believe that. It's rough. It's a tough pill to swallow that, people are willing to circumvent their freedoms for so-called security and something that they don't even know what the hell it is. You know what I mean? And then when my family, when my families contest me, and they say, well, why not? And I tell them, I got the antibodies. So for why? I had it and I got the antibodies. What do I need to do it for? Well, because you need to keep everybody else safe. I said, so if I get it, can I spread it still? Yeah, but that's okay. If I get it, can I still catch it? Yes. I said, well, what's the point? What risk am I mitigating? By getting it? It's the same odds.
The
odds are the same to me.
It's very simple arguments that I present. If I'm in a room longer than you, any longer than 15 minutes, you've inhaled what I've gave out. So,
right.
And my father has to pay $100 for insulin. So why are they giving this for free, but letting people die and cripple of something?
Right.
Doesn't even take the amount of deaths and diabetes does. Diabetes still takes more people out than what's being out here. So
right.
And then on top of that, y'all don't even look at the fine print. Y'all just sign it because it's got too many letters for y'all. So it's like, okay, well, then
shit, jealous girlfriends kill more motherfuckers than that shit. You know what I mean?
You feel me, dog?
It's crazy, and everybody nobody worried about that shit. They out there talking about, did you get tested? I'm like, damn, I ain't got AIDS. Like shit. Like did you get tested? Like yo, like
for what? Like,
all right, this ain't that.
Bro, there was an exposure issue, back earlier this year, and I had one person at work. They just kept telling me like, well, so did anybody else, pop positive or whatever? I was like, I would just, first, my initial impulse is, and this is what I carried through with, because he never pressed it too much. He asked like 3 times. I never responded. I responded. There was some other stuff he asked. I responded to that stuff. I never responded to that thing because, no, we never went and got checked, and we're not going to because, Why would I? If there's nothing going on, what am I get tested for? For what?
I gotta tell you my medical business
to know that. Well, the thing is too, like even with like whether it's school or work or whatever, like once you're exposed, you got to like quarantine yourself anyway. So what the fuck difference does it make?
Right.
Does it make if I go and I get a plus, does that mean now I'm going to stay an extra 14 days, or my 14 days count harder, or what? Like, you know, like we're going to stay here. We're going to like whatever y'all fucking do. Y'all said y'all don't want me around. Cool. I'm going to stay back here. I'm going to keep getting paid, and I'm going to do this shit remote because that's what y'all want. All right, fine. I'm not going to be a dick and, you know, insert myself where I'm not wanted. But anyway, it's just, it's this weird sort of, it becomes cultish in the sense that regardless of all the things that you said about like, well, if this, then this, then why? If this, then this, then why? If this, then this, then why? None of that shit matters. The facts don't care about their feelings that if you're not one of them, you don't count.
Right. What they say before. I mean, if you say something enough times, people bound to believe it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's what it is. They're pushing that propaganda down everybody's throat. You know what I mean? Sure. And it's just like, you know, the shit you learned in fucking science class in high school don't matter no more. That shit is just fucking null and void. You know, the shit you learned on the fucking magic school bus when they had the shit when fucking Ralphie got sick and they went in his body and was teaching you about the fucking immune system. That shit don't fucking count no more. You know, now it's just what we're talking about now. It's like, no, this is the new science right now. It's like that new math that my kids got that I can't fucking help them with.
The scientific method has been replaced with, if somebody on TV said it, it's true.
Right.
And if somebody on YouTube said it, it's false.
They took the ideology of you following, not you, anybody in here, but like them following their celebrity masses, you know, because if they don't say go left, you can't go left. And if you go left, you're a traitor.
I fucking trust Miss Frizzle more than I fucking trust Fauci. Like, you know what I mean? Like, geez, you know what I mean? Shit.
And even Miss Frizzle was off with some stuff because like she was still parroting the official narratives on a whole bunch of different topics. But
you know, it's just just the thing. People second guess. Like, it's to the point where they don't push this so hard that people second guess their own gut.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you got, you know, and then like I said, you know, you got people, you know, I say it all the time, you got people who they not financially stable enough to say, I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? You know, you got, you know, people like, well, such and so makes this much. I said, but what's his bills look like?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know, he's a Fortune 500 company. Okay, cool. Well, it's nothing for them to let that man go in there. Like, but the thing is he willing to do it? Is he willing to stand up for what he believes in and go ahead and take that L? A lot of people can't. A lot of people got kids in college. A lot of people got bills. They got debt. You know what I mean? You know, Bill Cooper's talked about that. You know, silent weapons for quiet wars. You control the masses through debt. That's how you control them. If they're in debt, they're less likely to buck the system. And we see it right now with what's going on right now.
Yep.
You attack their pockets to force them to do whatever it is that you want them to do. And it's not that many people out here that's going to say, you know what? No, I'll figure it out. They're gonna be like, oh, I can't afford to do that. I got a vacation I gotta go on next week. I gotta be able to afford that. I can't lose my job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
I
mean?
So debt is one of the instruments. The other instrument is, like you said, is luxury. Is all these things, whether it's devices, connection to the internet. Like, how many people melt down if the fucking Wi-Fi goes out? You know, like shit like that. It's those little conveniences that we've come to depend on. Where I saw something somebody posted, like, this is like probably 5 years ago or something. It was like, remember when you used to leave your house and you never even considered the possibility of a phone in your pocket, and now if you leave your house and you don't have your phone in your pocket, you have to turn around and go back.
Like, I remember my father had a phone around his neck. That big ass fucking that
yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
I'm saying like you used to not need to carry a phone around with you.
Right.
Now
you can't
if
live
somebody
without it.
doesn't respond instantly, they get butthurt about it. Like, why didn't you text me back? I'm like, I was fucking busy.
Right.
My
exactly.
grandmother had to wait 3 months for a letter. Come on now, fam.
Right. Exactly.
You got people they talking about something. Look, I texted them 2 minutes ago. They asked on Instagram. They on Instagram. They ain't text me back yet. Like yo,
right? They're like stalking you on other social media.
But you're right. It's luxury and convenience. You know what I mean? Could you, like, you know, and that's what it is. You attack those. Like what we do? What I do with my kids. And ass whooping ain't going. It's gonna be crocodile tears, and they going back to what the fuck they doing. If I take something from them, if I take that tablet or I take the TV or the YouTube, that shit hurts them a whole lot more.
Change the Wi-Fi password.
Yeah, I gotta go lock the medicine cabinet just because I turned off the the Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? So like, but imagine that. Imagine if people lose their luxuries and people they're not ready to do that. You know what I mean? I ain't got a problem going out. Look, you see this? I built this for hogs and deer. Okay, I ain't got a problem going in the woods to go get me something to eat. You know what I mean? A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people ain't ready for it.
Yeah. All right, I don't know who this is. This must be one of your homies. Brian Dotson says you never answer a call.
Right? That's funny.
He know goddamn well he lying. That's my cuz. Shout out to my cuz. He keep me on the straight and narrow. Matter of fact, y'all be on the lookout, man. I'm about to start a podcast too.
Oh, watch out! Nice. All right, I love it. I love to see it. All right, so let me ask you this real quick. Did you see Uncle Hotep's video on Draymond Green's video about the where he was talking about basically saying people should have freedom, and he doesn't understand why there's this big push. And Uncle Hotep came out with his TikTok. Did you see that TikTok?
Oh, you talking the one that was in like the old school?
Yes.
Yeah, I almost crashed my damn cars listening to that shit. I was like, yo, he had to pull over. I listened to like twice. Yo,
bro,
crazy.
As a white man, I had the only thing I could do was like quote tweet it and said, "Unk is wild." I don't know what else to say. I can't
Uncle
say
fool, man. That is the Griff King right there. I was like, yo,
dude, that shit is that. I think he's got something there. That is a nice recipe he has cooked up. Marcus, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I was going to point out that something, because a lot of this stuff that we're talking about, whether you're talking about the jab or you're talking about any number of the government lockdowns that they're going to continue to do for the next little bit, I do want to offer a little bit of hope. And that little bit of hope is that I don't think they're going to be able to do this very long. Once they get it all, shut down, I think because I do think that the jab is going to come with some long-term issues with people that get it. I think that and it may not be death. It may be, the kids grow third arm or some shit. But when people start having babies, I think we're going to start seeing some long-term effects, and we're going to start seeing some negativity.
Nico's on it. If they can.
So eventually, I think what's going to happen is people are going to get wise to it, and you're going to start seeing some people suing. You're going to start seeing people do that. And I think they will back down from this. I think that they've gone too far, and I think that they're walking the line right now where people aren't going out and just saying, "Oh, I'm not going to do it." No, they're going out and they're putting firearms on the wall. What they're doing is yeah, exactly. And what they're doing is they're going, okay, I need to get into Bitcoin. I need to get into, having my own food, growing my own food. I need to start being prepared. And that is the opposite effect that they had hoped to get. And I've seen a lot of it. So what hopeful things do you think, Cannon, that might be coming down the road that you see?
I think you're about to see a paradigm shift. I think you're about to see the left and the right may start to see some common ground now behind this. You know what I mean? Because you're starting to see it now. I wouldn't call Nikki Hotep or whatever. You know what I mean? Because I doubt it. You know what I mean? But this is something where people, this is a common sense issue where people are starting to be like, you know what? Yeah, I don't like this person, but they got a point on this.
Yeah, it's the force for me is what a lot of people are getting to.
Because then they have like some Black Lives Matter people and some Trump people marching earlier.
Yeah, Hawk Newsom. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna start seeing that. I think you're gonna start seeing a lot more of that. And then we're gonna see another variant come out, and that's gonna try to kill that.
Yeah, no, they're most definitely gonna throw a mix on it. And when they throw that mix on it, it's gonna be when the flu season really starts to hit.
Oh man.
It's about to get real ugly.
If you just look at the trend from last year, it's like this. We do this, and then right now, like going into November, December, you're going to get that next.
And I wouldn't even say that. I would say at the end of October.
End of October, yeah.
End of October when it starts to ramp up.
Me and a friend of mine was talking about that, right? And I was like, because kids is back in school and stuff like that. And I'm like, you got all these people that's been bubble wrap for the past year and a half, and now they going out here in the world and getting around these germs now. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you got flu season coming up, that shit don't even exist no more according to the powers that be.
Yeah.
So when these kids start snotting and sneezing all over the place in school, they're gonna shut this shit right back down. I said before, I said October. I said like probably by mid or the end of October. And my friend was like, "Nah, I'm thinking." They thinking more like just before Thanksgiving.
They're gonna wait until I was gonna say they're gonna wait until they're gonna Lucy with the football. They're gonna be like, "Y'all ready for Thanksgiving dinner? It's time. We can finally have Thanksgiving." Whoops, never mind. You can't do it.
But they could just boil the frog. They just turn the heat up on us
that's
until
true.
we get
That's
there,
true.
and then next thing you know, we back in the house.
It's kind of like a cast iron skillet, right? Like where? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Remind me about my cast iron skillet analogy later.
Sure. No, do you think that we're like that people are going to comply to this? Like after seeing the results of all this, and like a few more waking up, realizing that this variant hoo-ha is just of coincidence ever since everybody got the jib jab jibidome. But like, do you think people are going to just stay complacent?
So honestly, I think everybody that was willingly getting it, I think they already got it. I think they already got it. The people that was on that train, people that's left is the people like, I don't want to do this, or I'm not going to do it until my job make me do this. That's what's left, in my opinion. And that's the sad part, because now, like I said before, they done playing nice. You know what I mean? You know, now they're going to start hitting you in your pockets. They're going to start, you got mortgages. You got mortgage. Well, guess what you need to do? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's like forcing a woman.
Bro,
to
they already
pussy.
did. Did you see they had in Louisiana, if you work for the Ochsner Health System, they required it for their employees, for all their staff, nurses, doctors, and all other staff, administrative and whatnot. Okay, they required that back in August. Now they just sent something out a few days ago. Spouses and domestic partners of employees are required to show proof. Otherwise, the employee will be charged $100 per pay period.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy. I guess it'd be a lot of divorces
deducted from your paycheck. Deducted from your paycheck. So you can't even not pay it.
That's
you basically have to quit, and so then you don't have recourse. So I was like, no, just like
so
start filing your paperwork, get your legal team ready, because that's don't quit, because if you quit, then you don't have any recourse.
That's it.
But that's the thing. That's the thing I don't get though. It's like,
unless you got a job to go to,
Yeah, but your spouse has nothing to do with you. You know what I mean?
Well, their whole contention is because you work, because you're in a healthcare space, your spouse, you're exposed to them. But then, here's the thing: it goes back to the whole thing. Like, if the shit is what you say it is, if the bug spray kills the bugs, or the bug spray protects you from the bugs, then why the fuck does your bug spray not protect you from the other people who didn't? You know what I'm saying? It's like this. Who was it that was saying, like, am I going to take Tylenol? I'm going to take Tylenol. Like, if I take Tylenol, does everybody else have to take it in the neighborhood?
That's because your bug spray is just fucking off. You know what I mean? It ain't fucking Raid. It's off. They just put some off on you.
Some DEET. It's just DEET, it's the off without DEET. That's what it is. Because
exactly what it is.
No, see, it's not even off, man. It's like gasoline. Like they pour gasoline all over you. It's not
that's true. It's like exactly. It might also choke you to death.
Right. Yeah, but that's the thing. And you saying that. It's like, damn, that's just going to spread. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because federal government, they what they got to go through, stuff like that. I heard that they have to they're mandatory now. You know what I mean? So I don't know. There's gonna be a lot of divorces happening. It might be. I mean, they might not break up, but on paper,
right. I feel like I don't know what you're talking about. What spouse or domestic partner?
Right. Exactly.
What are you talking about?
Right.
I don't know them anymore.
Right. Exactly. You know what I mean? I ain't shit. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's just another.
They ain't no, because I'm with you. It's a mark.
Oh yeah,
but mark the beast. beast. You know, I just spent the brother-in-law, and Aaron was talking about it's exact same shit, you know, and that's what it is. This is you know, if it's not that, you know, and I'm not trying to get into religious things, you know, because I don't necessarily believe everything the Bible says, but at the same time, I can see with my own eyes that what was predicted in Daniel and in Revelations is manifesting in front of us through this jab, you know, and it may be that it's just one of the precursors that eventually becomes the mark of the beast. I get it, but now's the time to say no. And I still say, though, this is all economics. Beyond all whatever's going to happen, there's going to be, they've shown there's going to be at least 10 to 20% of the people that are going to say no. And that's 10 to 20 people that aren't in nurses' offices, that aren't in doctors' offices, that aren't, you know, even, you know, redoing your loan because, you know, some business decided to do that, or somebody, you know, they're going to lose so many people that the unemployment crisis that we're dealing with now is going to get exponentially but worse, which is going to be hard on businesses, you know, so they're going to break it. It's going to break.
Do you think some of it's intentional, though?
I do
think for AI and robots and all this other shit that they're developing right now.
I also think that it might be, and maybe Cannon can address this as well. One of the things that I look to happen as well is I think that the brain-addled kidnapper is going to eventually need replaced by the tyrant in heels, and I think they may be pushing all the bullshit as far as they possibly can right now under him, so that she can come in and go, you know, we probably went a little bit too far, and try to be the savior just as they pull him off the stage and put her into the full-on beast position.
The tail wagging the dog. But yeah, you're right. What does it say?
That's a good point.
The Antichrist won't desire women. You know what I mean?
Right.
It could be that, you know. But like you said, I think this is just a fire drill. You know, this is the fire drill preparing people to, you know, for that full-on mark. You know what I mean? You know, like Pavlov's dog. You know what I mean? Everybody, they ringing that dinner bell. Everybody coming and there ain't shit there. You know what I mean? You know, they just want to see how far they can go before they do decide to do something. You know what I mean? Who knows what their steps are? You know, that's what my crew on tight right now. But you know, given the track record and the history, it ain't too far off. You know what I mean? It's not a stretch to say that at all. You know?
Yeah. We thought 2 years ago, you know, if you had told me we'd be where we are right now. Yeah, there you go. There's the goofy right there.
I got the tinfoil on for you, Cannon.
Hey, how long does that take you to make?
This? I don't know, like 10 minutes maybe. It ain't that hard. I can hook you up with one.
Chad got a goddamn cereal bowl under that aluminum foil.
No. Look, bro. Like, watch. I'll show you. I'll show you what it looks like underneath. That's all it is. It's just this.
Just straight. Okay.
Do you have like a case for it? You put it in a case and
say what?
You got a case for it so it don't get bent?
Yeah, well, so I'll just ship it in a box, and then as long as the box don't get smashed, it'll be straight.
Yours. I'm talking about yours. You got like that.
No, I usually put something in it when I travel with it or something like that. Like I brought it to Hotep Nation weekend. This is the one that was on the table at the show when they did the live. So anyway, I apologize. I derailed the show a little bit there, but no, that's a good point that Marcus made though about how, and I think if Kamala takes over, right,
it's an easy win. It's a layup for her.
Right, but the thing is, on top of that, what so many people still fail to realize is that there are so many distractions. So much of what we see, what the media chooses to show us, what they choose to do from the congressional floor in public view, right?
Yeah.
In full view is one hand, and the other hand is producing other legislation. You know, this big transportation bill that is however many 2,700 or whatever the fuck pages, you know? Yeah. Like you have all this shit going on. There's all this. Do you remember back? Y'all may not remember this. Marcus might. Nico definitely doesn't because he was like 4 or some shit. But
my bad.
in 2008, no, he's not that young. But anyway, in 2008, 2009, 2007, somewhere in that range, they passed this big stimulus bill under George W. Bush. And there was like stuff for like arrows for the Boy Scouts in Oregon or something like that. There was some stuff for like shrimp mating studies and all this other kind of crap. And there was this big hullabaloo about pork in the bill or whatever. And I had people telling me that, no, what you don't understand is this organization that was doing this, there's people like apologizing for this shit. They spread the shit out over so many districts where so many different little pet projects where they can get 500 votes here or 1,200 votes there or whatever it is for a congressional rep. All that stuff goes into these bills. And that was going on back before there was this massive, whatever you want to call it, mark of the beast or whatever kind of push going on for some punches, some jabs, and some bug sprays. Now you have everybody focused on the shit that they see on TV, and they're worried about shit being burned down, shit, people in the streets, beat downs, and all this other kind of stuff that's happening at restaurants and in the streets with cops and whatever else. That they can run a $3.5 trillion spending bill right by you, and you might be upset about 2 or 3 things in there because that's what your tailor-made, spoon-feed conservative commentator is going to tell you is in there, but you're going to miss the 900 other things in there that are going to slam ironclad doors behind you and lock you in.
Yeah. Yep. You're right about that. I agree. I completely agree with that. You know what I mean? It's so much language in those bills, you know what I mean? And like you said, even with like the gun bills, you know what I mean? We know what the main parts we're trying, like, we can't let this happen. We can't let this happen. We can't let this happen. But they'll try to do the same thing you said. Well, they'll hide a law on firearms in an agriculture bill. You know what I mean? Just to get it passed because nobody's gonna look for it there. And then next thing you know, this is blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And that's what they do.
And your 2A defender Republicans are signing off on it because it helps them reconcile some other thing that they want in the bill or that they want removed from the bill.
Right, exactly. And and I still stand by what I say with back a few times, a couple videos ago, whatever. I said a lot where it's a finder's fee for a lot of those bills for those congressmen. You know what I mean? Just like with the
that's perfect.
With the stimulus, you know what I mean? Why they need $10 million for some bridge that they don't need? You know what I mean? What's the kickback on that?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's it's a lot of that going on. You got to remember those congressmen, those congresswomen, that little $174,000 a year. And I say little because that's how they look at it. You know what I mean? That's not enough for them. They need that. They need their lobbying money.
Right. Well, it's not even just that. Look at their investment portfolios.
That's
like they have these little investment portfolios that all they need is about a 3-6 month lead on what stocks are going to benefit from whatever legislation they're passing, whatever bills or whatever funding, subsidies, and everything like that are coming through. And they got it. Marcus, what's the term? There are 2 terms. There's one that is for there's a specific term for how they spread the bill over all these different districts. There's one about how they undersell how cheap it's going to be and how well it's going to.
I don't know what it's called. I know
what I'm talking about, though, right? Where
it'll
be like some weapons project where they're like, all right, so this missile, it pinpoints Osama bin Laden in the cave and only kills him, even though his daughter is sleeping on his chest. It only kills him.
Right.
And it only costs 3 cents per missile. And then when the bill actually passes, it kills 3 cities.
Right.
It costs $4 trillion per missile. And the budget is spread over every district in the United States so that it can never be revoked.
Yeah.
This is the way that they do these little budgetary things. And that's just from a military standpoint. They do it with other stuff too, obviously.
Right. And I think a lot of people they do that. And that's absolutely true. But people miss that the foundation for all this shit has been set forever. A perfect example of that is people want to bitch and moan about when they came out with Obamacare. Well, the first thing, literally the first thing Obama did was he passed a stimulus bill when he came into office that put all the infrastructure in ready to go for Obamacare, and it passed, and it was in a stimulus bill. It wasn't about healthcare, didn't have anything to do with it, and a lot of the rules were already in place when Obamacare came into place. So what they do is they do what you're talking about, Chad, but they hide and they move and they just tell outright lies. I mean, you can tell that a person in government is lying is if their mouth's moving. So basically they have set up this system, and that's the problem that we run into. And this is one of the things that Rothbard argued that we need to be doing, that we need to be incrementally bringing things back. If you can cut taxes by 0.5%, do it. Yes, I want no taxes. That's my goal. But I want, if I can get 0.5% off, then I'll take it, because that's in my direction. And the left and communism has been doing that for the beginning of since Marx. They're told, take everything you can get, just in it is a stated goal of the Communist Party in the United States from the 1960s to control both the political parties in the United States, and they've succeeded. People that want to think that Republicans are different, they're just plain not. They're just a little bit more palatable communism instead of an outright communism. And so
as Malice describes it, progressivism driving the speed limit.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
So at the end of the day, what we're facing is an agenda that isn't just in our face. These people want to make these people out to be stupid, and they're not. They're not very effective, but they're not stupid.
You're right. I mean, it's just chess. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're fucking great at it. They're thinking 10, 15, 20 steps ahead of everybody.
Yep.
Thing is, they control you through chaos.
Right.
You know what I mean? The left hand don't know what the right hand's doing. That's why you got you got the summer of love. What the hell happened on the back end? You know what I mean?
I'd like to actually challenge. I don't necessarily think that they're 10 to 15 steps ahead of the normal layman. I think that the layman's just so caught up with their bullshit-esque life that all they need to do is just stay 2 steps ahead of the person. Because this shit is not really difficult, what they're doing. It's just the fact that we're not paying attention. The 3 to 5 minute attention span is truly a detriment if you want to just flip something over somebody in the matter of seconds. You feel me?
Right.
So
You're right.
So it's just the lack of information that people want to provide themselves with. The lack of the headache that people want to go through.
That's it. It's the lack of the headache. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
Because I see this, like I see people, and in some ways I have to admit, like myself included. Okay, I'm gonna keep it completely real with everybody. Even me, seeing what I see, I still there's a part of me that's still attached to the things that I have grown accustomed to. The things that I was already attached to when I came to these realizations. It's hard to let go of this shit. They know that. We become a slave to what we own. We think we own this stuff. This stuff owns us.
For sure.
The stuff and the luxuries own us.
Yep.
To the point that, yes, they don't need to stay that far ahead of us, only a step or two, because unless you are willing to, and I've had this conversation with my wife and my kids, y'all need to mentally prepare yourselves for legitimately and literally, we leave everything behind, and we live. Shit. We live, huh?
I said being bored as shit, son.
Yeah, but we leave everything behind, and we live off of land. We grow our own shit, and we have to network with family and friends where we can all collaborate together and add skills to each other and kind of complement each other in that respect. Because if you think, well, what I want is I want my freedom, I want my body autonomy, but I also want to go to LSU football games.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's not in the cards.
Right.
Yeah.
The way the shit is, it's just not in the cards. I have already, and look, I will, I don't know, give my my whatever due respects to Hotep Jesus. I will bow in shame for this favorite sports team in bio moment, but I was in the womb when I went to my first LSU football game. Okay, I had been going to LSU sporting events since before I was born. Okay, I have come to complete grips with never going to another LSU sporting event again. Because if this is the requirement now, I'm like, cool, all right, you have drawn the line, and I choose not to cross that line because I'm not going there. Like if you say that I have to have that shit to go in there, sorry, I'm not crossing that line. So what we have to do is we have to, like, those of us who are awake enough to see this stuff, we have to start even these little, and that seems like such a stupid little thing, right? I mean, we're talking about, like, these are people who murder people, who bomb children all over the world. Like, you're gonna, like, let them stick some shit in you so you can go to a football game,
Right.
Oh yeah, or Lollapalooza,
or a concert, right? Exactly.
Right.
But at the same time, I really, maybe it's just my nature. I really think they've gone too fucking far, and it may be.
I don't
intentional.
disagree with that. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
I really do think that they're directing us towards something, but they also, it may be that eventually everyone who gets the jab will be sterile, and that's what the plan was. And I don't know that it's going to be deeper than that, but and they may back off and be whatever, but there are enough people, I think, right now that are seeing this for exactly what it is. This is a step back in the civil rights movement, whether you're talking about black people or gay people or whatever kind of people. I'm as white as they come, and I'm not getting that shit. And I'll be treated like I need to have my own drinking fountain, and I'll be in the back of the bus because that's where it's at. But people are seeing that, and we're not just talking about people like us that have been questioning for some time. We're talking about people I met when I just bought my house. For anybody that knows, I've been renting my house from my mother-in-law for 4 years, and I now own it. I bought it from her this past Friday. Well, when I was in the title company on Friday, there was a woman that was the receptionist, and because we had some time in there, I had a chance to talk to her, and she was very vocal about how stupid all this is. She told me, I don't know what. I said, well, I'm a libertarian, and I assumed because the way she was talking, so was she, because she's like all this stuff, and she goes, I don't even know what that means. She was like, I don't know what being a libertarian means. And I was like, you're kidding me. And she literally had no awareness of government at all. None. No awareness. A year and a half ago was voting Democrat, was going out and doing everything she was supposed to do, and a year and a half ago when all this crap hit, she went, fuck this. And she is in the office vocally basically saying, this government needs to go away. We need to do away with government. Government needs to, and this is a person who works in a title company in Indianapolis and is not clued in, before that happened. So if that's happening there, that's happening with somebody and she was in her 50s. Let's just be clear. This isn't your, standard person to start questioning. So if that's happening, it's happening everywhere. And
is it happening in the DMV though, Cannon?
Honestly, yes and no. Like, so it depends. So for example, if Maryland's only a blue state because of Baltimore City and PG County, that's it. Everywhere else is basically red. So it depends on where you land. So, like, for example, I was in a spot out here called Carroll County, Westminster. You got Trump flags still flying. You got these, you know what I mean? You got F Joe Biden billboards and da 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 da. You know what I mean? So you got that. You got people like it's no mask there's no mask signs or posters on those stores out in that area. But you come into Baltimore City, the mayor mandated that masks have to be worn, period. You know, anywhere you go in Baltimore, any store, any whatever, you have to wear it. Simple
People
as that.
not getting stabbed hard enough. You got to wear
right,
a mask.
exactly. Right, exactly. You know what I mean? And then you got, you know, Baltimore County where it's kind of half and half, where some places, you know, like, hey, we respect your choice, and you got some places, no, you need to go ahead and mask up. You know, it's kind of, I don't know, it's just a shot in the dark sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that's probably true across the country too. You know, no matter where you're at, it's going to be different everywhere. But yeah, it really, you know, to kind of shift gears, because we've talked about the jab, you know, to a large extent now. What, you know, in a sane world, when we weren't having to deal with all this dumb shit, Cannon, what issues are most important to you? What things do you think should be the front and foremost of what we should be dealing with as a society?
Firstly is education. And I'm not talking about public school education. I'm talking about, you know, just, you know, like they don't teach kids how to balance checkbooks no more. You know what I mean? Don't teach kids how to be responsible with their money. You know, they're not teaching real history anymore. You know, that type of stuff. I don't know if they ever taught real history now.
Yeah, I was going to say
no, they never did.
But you know that teach self-reliance. They don't have that anymore. Vocations, they don't have that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we suck with directions. We need maps.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Learning how to be self-sufficient. You know, it wasn't until 2015 where I was in my dad's office and we were looking at the debates, and I said, that's like, if anything happened or go down, we can't defend ourselves. He was like, what are you talking about? We've been in martial arts and da-da-da-da-da. Like, you know, I'm like, no, I'm talking about, like, we don't know how to shoot. We can't feed ourselves or something go down. So that we literally got out of our seats and went down to the local gun store and picked up matter of fact, that's my first rifle. That's my very first gun. I'll never get rid of it.
You're like one of those restaurants that hangs their first dollar on the wall.
Yeah.
You got your first rifle on the wall.
First rifle on the wall, right?
That's a lot more than $1. Goddamn, man.
You know what I mean? And then I was like, we don't know how to feed ourselves. So then we learned how to hunt. We learned how to gut, skin, quarter animals. You know what I mean? You know, now the next step is growing a garden. You know, I got my neighbor next door that's been, you know, trying to teach me that stuff. And now I'm trying to learn cryptocurrency. I'm trying to learn, you know, that and also trying to figure out if gold and silver will still be a thing if the dollar collapses. You know, just that way we have some kind of bartering or something like that. You know what I mean?
Not trying, Pittman, you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's I think that's the most thing is self-reliance. You know, that's the biggest thing for me. You know, teaching my kids not have to rely on the government or anybody to give you something or handout or anything. That's the biggest thing, and I think that above everything should be most, I guess, the top of everybody's list is teaching, you know, self-reliance, because we see what's happening now. Because we can't rely on ourselves, a lot of people have to submit to what they don't want to do now.
Right. And not only that, but people mischaracterize this idea of like self-reliance and like building yourself as selfishness. And actually, it's what allows you to be able to help other people. We actually have one of our guys in our chat. Shout out to our Anarch chat. We'll let Nico give his ad for the Patreon in a little bit. But one of our patrons, Daryl, Hotep Daryl, shout out to Hotep Daryl. He dealt with an issue yesterday where he basically saved a dude's life, and there were people standing around, you know, recording while this dude's bleeding out, and he's out there on the road helping, and it's because he had med kit with him in his vehicle. You know, like there's these things where if you do what you can to prepare yourself, then you are prepared to help other people. If you are waiting for someone else to do it and you come at it with this concept of like, no, that's selfish to be all about yourself and self-reliance and self-sustainability and all this other kind of stuff. That's bullshit, first of all. And second of all, like it flies completely in the face of the shit that they say. There it is. Thank you very much, Hotep Daryl. Join the Aquarian Anarchy Telegram chat via the Patreon. Nico, get ready. Get that ad ready. But if we are not in a position to put our own little oxygen mask on. Notice I didn't say that other kind. On the airplane, they always tell us, put yours on first before you try to help somebody else. Because if you're trying to help somebody else put theirs on and then you collapse and fall out, you're no good to anybody. But if you get yourself taken care of first, now you can help who knows how many people and save their lives. So it's actually not selfish at all. If anything, if everybody did as much as they could to make it to where they depended on other people as little as possible, but what you did when you did depend on other people was you were networking with them to complement each other's, like, hey, you know what? I suck at sewing and mending and making clothes, but I can take apart and rebuild and set up your weapon, and I can take care of all that stuff for you. I can train you how to shoot and everything.
Right.
You make the clothes, I'll take care of the weaponry. We're good.
And they used to do that back in the day. It's a barter system. You know what I mean? Who needed a dollar? Oh, you need your horse. You need your horseshoe. You know what I mean? All right, cool. Let me get some of that bison that you just went and smoked. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
we're gonna go back to that
community. That's another big thing. Sure is community, which is not many anymore. You know what I mean? I could probably name a handful of my neighbors. To be honest with you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before when I was younger, you knew everybody on the block.
Yeah.
Mr. Such and so, he sold frozen cups down on the corner. If you had a flat tire, Mr. Such and so, he worked for Goodyear. He can fix your flat. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. We don't have that anymore.
For sure. And I think a lot of people think that it's going to be this big complicated thing too. It's not. Even just thinking about what would I do in an emergency? What would I do in a situation? Just kind of having gone through that is a good start. It's a good start to be like, okay, what would I do if the grocery store shut down? What, how much food do I have? What kind of things do I have already in my, lockbox, as you will. Like as an example, for me, I'm a freak. So, I'm thinking, what happens if I can't get a job, right?
Right.
Well, I have some skills, and some of those skills are like, for instance, I looked yesterday. We were coming through my little town. There's this huge get together going on at the bar because they had a band. They had the whole thing going on. And I just live in a little town, but I noticed there's right across the street from there, there's a little bitty public park. Well, if I took a table, threw some tarot cards down on it in front of this big ass party, that's something I know how to do that can bring me an income because boom, if I sit in front of that with some tarot cards, I'm going to get, and charge, and they don't even say I'm charging anything, but, try to get about $20 per tarot reading. And I could get, 5 people to sit down. That's $100 that I could make in probably like 2 hours. So just being able to think about ways that you can work into a barter system with the skills that you do have, we don't know everything, but what if one of the things that we did was, you were talking about gardening and things like that. My wife and I have the basic skills on how to garden, how to can, those kinds of things. Well, the neighbor might be able to trade with us and we could teach him how to do that. And, he could teach us how to do this, that, or the other thing like Chad was talking about. So just this isn't really, people want to make it harder than it is. It's not really that hard to be prepared. I started with a water purifier that was a gravity water purifier for our survival skills. That was the first thing that I put out. It cost me like $150 from Alex Jones. So I got that. That started me being able to.
Shout out to Alex Jones if you ever want to come on the show.
Right, for sure. He'd be welcome. Love to talk to Alex Jones. I would make fun of him.
Yeah, I don't know. Can he be on YouTube? Only on Joe Rogan, I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Tim Pool. Shit.
But my point was that the important thing is kind of like what King Randall said this past week. We need to start walking. We need to start moving in the direction of being prepared. And then when it's time to be prepared, you'll use what skills you've already accumulated. Just start moving.
Yeah, but it's better than having that, oh shit, like what do I do now moment where it's like, no, I've already mentally prepared myself for this. Like I saw this coming.
Right.
And that's what I want everybody to try to do. Like don't be afraid. Don't let fear succumb you. Like allow yourself to see what's coming and prepare yourself for it. And that's the key. You don't have to be entrapped and like I don't know, like subdued by this fear. You can actually see things that are fearsome, right? And also set yourself up to be able to conquer it without any difficulty if you're prepared for it. But
Right.
if you let yourself get caught unawares, then that's when it's like, oh fuck, like they're at my door. Now what do I do? Well, did you get anything in the last year and a half? Like you had a fucking year and a half now.
Right.
What have you been doing all
You
this
had a
time?
year and a
You did
half.
have a buffer moment.
A year and a half. How many stimulus checks? How many?
Right.
You know, like you
Right.
did nothing with it other than go to
you
fucking
went
Cancun.
Red Lobster, and you know,
Right.
fill it
Right,
up
like-
on your ESPN Plus. But you
Right.
know, we aren't
Yeah.
ESPN Plus. We are Aquarian Anarchy. And if you want to throw your five if you really rocking with the guys tonight. Yeah. But throw your five if you really want to enjoy the mind of Canon Hotep. Yeah. Throw the five if you really want to get into this intellectual mind. Yeah. I'm just done with this, so just join the Patreon if you really want to ride. Yeah.
Let's
That
go.
was ass. That was
Let's
ass.
go,
I'm so
dude.
sorry. That was ass.
It was
No,
hey,
that's
look,
that
good.
was no. That
that's
was
better than
terrible.
that's
Let
better than what
get
me and Marcus
high
was
and
doing.
Come back, and I got
Right.
you.
All right.
Yeah, but I mean, I agree with it. Like, hey, you got to be prepared all the way around. You know,
Mhm.
you know, not only with the 2A,
Right.
know how to know how to fight. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Big facts.
You know what I mean? Also know how to feed your family.
Mhm.
Take an interest in your kids' schooling. Because like I said, my daughter came to me, asked me to help her with some math homework. They got some new way of doing division I ain't never seen before in my life. Like take an interest. Take an interest in your kid. Take interest in your kid's school and teach them. Sometimes you got to unlearn some things.
Yeah.
But
teaching at home.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because that's where that's where it should start and anyway. And don't come to my house looking for anything because you see it's not going to end well for you. So,
unless you're a friend.
You're a friend and you
Yeah.
say, "Hey, can you help me? If I catch you creeping, it's gonna be the last creep
Right.
you're gonna creep."
Right. But it is interesting too, though, right? Like we also have, and this is one of the things I started doing a few weeks back, is we all have skills. Some of them we don't even remember that we had. Sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I started this exercise of like, no, like go. I want you to like list your skills. What can you do if the shit hits the fan? What are you capable of? Can you build shit? Can you fix shit? Can you grow shit? Can you shoot shit? Stab shit? Whatever the case may be. Throw stuff.
Yeah.
Are you strong? Are you? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
do you have computer skills?
And that's
whatever.
how you build that community. That's how you build that community.
Exactly. So we have skills that may not even be in our line of work. Maybe they are,
right?
But maybe there's other skills that you have that aren't in your line of work, and the combination of what is in your line of work and what's not in your line of work.
Right.
Start cultivating relationships with people where you can actually translate those skills that you have as a human being. Right. That's all we are. All this stuff with like a resume and everything else, like so much of the stuff has become this contest of like who can write the most bullshit on their resume. But realistically, the most important part of that resume for me when I'm looking at the shit is what did he say? He said, 6 seasons of Walking Dead, I'm ready. You make some mean grilled cheese. All right, I'm down. Okay. But like that stuff at the bottom, like if I make a mean grilled cheese is on the bottom of the skills, and competencies, that's the shit that matters. Your skills and competencies. Right. That's what you need to be building. If you haven't been building it the last 18 months to 2 years, start now, grind on that shit, enhance what you got and build what you don't. If it's something that you're passionate about, because we need to be prepared so that we have a network of individuals who can support each other.
Right. Because what
up, Phil?
Trades are like going to be a niche market soon.
Bingo.
Kids don't want to do this shit no more. They want to be TikTok stars and and Twitch stars.
Everybody
they don't
wants to
learn,
be a content creator.
Right. They don't want to learn how to
Everybody
frame a
wants to
room,
learn.
you know. They
Everybody
want to learn
wants to
electric. Yeah, they
influence.
want to learn plumbing and HVAC and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
For sure.
learn that stuff, you know, go do it. You know, it's I'm sure on YouTube or whatever, there's enough videos on how to do certain shit. Go learn it and perfect it. You know what I mean? I was fortunate enough, you know, God rest his soul, my grandfather was a jack of all trades, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If he didn't have to leave his house if he didn't want to, you know, he built his own house at 27. You know what I mean? By himself, no mortgage, no bank involved, nothing. He did it after work every day for 3 years until his house was done in like 1950 something.
That's
You know
awesome.
what I mean? He did you know, his brother was a mason, and he I didn't know he was a carpenter out of the army. You know what I mean? They did all that stuff himself. He did the entire house, and he had properties where he did the same thing. You know what I mean? You know, he got a shed on his property that's bigger than his house. You know, it's crazy. But you know, fortunately I was able to learn from him. I was able to learn some of that stuff from him. You know, if I needed to build something, I can. If you know, if I want to, you know, I know some electrical, I know some plumbing. You know, but yeah, work on those skills. That's how you become a better, stronger, faster you. You know what I mean? Is
sure.
not only the physical, it's the education behind it, and make yourself valuable. You know, let's just say if the world go to shit, and you know now they who's worth keeping around or whatever. You know, you've roaming around and you come across the city or whatever. You know, what skills can you contribute if you want to come live here? You know what I mean? Simple as that.
Yeah. Otherwise, smart people are going to see you as the grifter you are, and they're gonna be like, I think this dude might try to jack him. Why don't we go ahead and smoke him now before he tries to jack us?
Right, exactly. Shoot.
Whereas if you got skills, they're like, nah, let's keep him alive. We want to keep him around, you know?
Right. You know,
for sure.
Like I built what? I think I built everything on his wall except for my first rifle. You know what I mean? And you know, that's a good skill. I know Cassius Cam does it up, you know, where he's at.
Shout out to Cassius, he's in here. Yep.
What up, homie? You know, but like that's a skill, you know what I mean? My friends call me now if they got issues with their firearms. Hey, I can't get the slide to release, or hey, something or whatever, you know, and I I take care of that, you know. Same thing with
and you become accessible.
Yeah, I need this. I need a. Oh, can you put a ceiling fan in? You know, I do that. You know what I mean? Yeah, no problem. You know, stuff like that. You know, it's very valuable. It's very valuable.
Yeah. Right. In the first place that people, again, because I like to take things to the really basics, the first place that people should start doing that is their family. You know, in my particular circumstance, there are things I know how to do. You hand me anything with lumber, and I can build damn near anything. It's a skill that I possess because I built office furniture for 10 years, and I can apply those skills to, you know, building stuff in my house and those kind of things. But I'm weak when it comes to electricity. I'm weak when it comes to plumbing. So and you know, I don't know everything there is to know about automobiles and things like that. But you know what? I have a son that does that. I have, you know, I have a son that knows, you know, how to do like planning outside, and he's right now works, you know, for a landscaping company, and he knows how to direct water. I saw him talking because he accidentally texted us some of his stuff that he's building stuff with bricks, you know, things like that. Those are skills that my family, these are two of my sons, have picked up. So that means that my skill set, you know, you add, you know, my son works for an electrician, you know, Amish electrician, figure that out, but he works for an electrician, and knows, is learning the skills to put in.
You can build it, you just
panels.
can't use it. Is that what it is?
Right. That is what it is. They can build it because they have to be able to build houses for people.
It's like a
that want
Chinese
electricity.
iPhone maker or something.
Right.
I don't know.
So
you can't use this, but you can
Right.
build it.
And here's a friendly tip for everybody out there. I don't care what civilization you living in. The biggest trades or the biggest jobs in the world that'll never ever go by the wayside is construction and trash. So if you want to go get a pickup truck with some bullshit trailer and build the sides up, you got a goddamn trash company. Everybody need to get rid of something, right? All the time, period.
I still got a pile of branches in my yard from fucking Ida. That was like a month and a half ago. They still hadn't come pick that shit up. So yeah, that would be welcome. I'd probably pay somebody 20, 25, hell, maybe even $50 to get that shit out of my yard.
See, like I said, you
my
know,
plane ticket.
but that's stuff like you got to think like that. Like, not all the lucrative jobs are sexy jobs.
Yeah, scrapping.
You know
That's
what I
right,
mean?
Cam. That's right. Metal scrapping. Damn
Yeah,
straight.
that
Yeah.
too. Yeah, like all the lucrative things aren't I got a buddy that does mechanical work. Matter of fact, he just put a radiator in one of my trucks yesterday.
There you
know,
go.
he does it out of the back of his RV. Probably make $150,000 a year just fixing cars every day, all day long. You know what I mean? Like,
that's how you
like
do
I
it.
said, you know, a lot of the lucrative jobs, it's not the sexy stuff everybody want to see.
No, and
You know,
I'm so glad you brought that up though, because that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is like how people, because what we're trying to do, we started like a year and a half ago when we started to see what was coming. There's plenty of people out there who will tell you how scary everything is that's coming, or how much bullshit it is that the government's doing, or anything like that. But then that's the end of it. It's like, okay, now what? And so what we want to try to provide is the what.
Right.
And so that the solutions of, yes, like I want everybody to understand from this last half hour or so, however long it's been that we've been talking about this. If you haven't figured this out already, I want you to see it now. Start emphasizing and fixing your weaknesses in skills that you started to build. Start to fortify that stuff. And in the skills that you already are good at, make that shit even better and start to tell people about it. Start to like use that to help make people around you make their lives better. If you can help your neighbor, because when it comes down, there's a few different ways that this thing manifests itself. One is that if you help, Marcus was talking about this a couple of weeks back. He made, what did you make that you gave to all your neighbors or whatever? You made food or something like that?
Well, we took from our garden.
So Marcus was giving shit away from his garden. And so, or no, you gave a microwave to somebody, right?
Oh, yeah. We gave the neighbor down the way needed a microwave. We
gave somebody a microwave. You do that sort of thing. Well, now you don't have that neighbor narking on you when they come and they say, all right, who in this neighborhood do we need to worry about? Well, now they don't report you, because why would they report the person who gave them a microwave when they desperately needed something? Or they gave them food, or they helped them fix their car, or they helped them frame their little addition to their house, or whatever the case may be. I'm a half-ass amateur pipe fitter. I can do some shit like that. I do a lot of pump and like, fittings and all that kind of shit with my work. So when you have those kinds of skills, you can translate that into first line of defense, not having your neighbors report you for shit, because they're like, well, why would I report that person? Because they actually helped me out with the shit that they do well, and maybe not have to spend $1,200 on it.
Right. Exactly.
And then the next line of defense is when the shit really hits the fan, now you have a network of people who can all do stuff for each other. So you don't have to rely on Walmart or Lowe's or whoever the fuck else to take care of that shit for you. And support your local businesses. Those local businesses that are still alive after all the efforts to destroy them. If you're not putting money into them, it's not enough to just boycott Walmart, Amazon, and Facebook and whatever. You've got to actually cultivate those local ones. Otherwise, you're fucked.
You're right about that. Sorry, guys.
No, it's all good.
My 7-year-old keeps knocking on the door asking for.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that, so I kept it alive. Yeah. Wait for you to come back.
He done broke his PlayStation controller, and I've been trying to fix one since Friday. I think I kind of got it.
Wait, anyways, is it a PlayStation 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck with that, because Sony is like, fuck you guys. Y'all aren't getting any more equipment from us. And it's I don't even want to get into that.
He broke the charger port, so I think I just half-tailed kind of fixed it. But I mean, but I agree with that, man. It's I think people don't understand that things come full circle. You know what I mean? Like we got the age of technology and convenience, but that's slowly being taken away from us right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, but now you got these, the millennials and not even millennials. Millennials should kind of understand, but Gen Z coming out, they don't know what it's like. You said, like, they don't know what it's like not to have a iPhone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or instant access to something. You know, they don't know the fucking Dewey Decimal System was. You know what I mean? They don't know none of that shit. How to read a map, none of it. You know,
Look some shit up in the library.
Right.
I can read
You better find a library before because all the online versions of books, they're changing shit, deleting chapters.
Yeah. I told Unc, because Unc wanted a copy of Behold a Pale Horse. I said, don't read it online because it's missing chapters.
Yeah.
Find the actual book.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that, but
there are some places I got a copy I can send him on PDF that might work.
Yeah, that might. Yeah,
you trying to plug a brother over here too?
Yeah, I got you.
Shoot, when I bought my copy, I wore a hoodie. I paid cash. I ain't signed up for no book clubs. None of that. I parked a quarter mile away. I ain't
right.
Perry noticed that when I bought that book.
It don't matter
For sure, but that's what you got to do, though. You're right.
Well, they're turning us all into fucking drug dealers, man. I'm telling you.
I know,
right.
Hey man, you got some Rothbard?
right.
Yeah,
By the
I've been
way,
doing that
speaking
shit
of
for a
which,
while.
did you see Michael Malice? Y'all might not have seen this, but the hardcover version of the Anarchist Handbook on Amazon is blocked right now.
Wow.
Because they're saying that it's confusing it with Anatomy of the State. And so they won't, but he's like, I have the full text of Anatomy of the State listed as The Anatomy of the State by Murray Rothbard in the book.
Right.
Like it's one of the things that's in the book. Anyway, it's bizarre. So it's it's funny how they do that. And then you got Jack like tweeting out the fucking link to the shit.
It's a concerted effort.
It's very interesting. So we have to take you into the indoctrination chamber at some point in this show, but I won't do that now because I think Marcus was about to dive in with something. So, but I want to set the stage for religion. That. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, what do you want to do first? Do you want to do?
Let's do the indoctrination chamber.
All right. Let's bring him in because so let me preface this with. All right, so we're at the pool party at Hotep Nation weekend, and Taylor Madden. Shout out to Taylor Madden, Hotep T-Rex in the building for the dope ass intro to Hotep's Been Told You Now. He was the producer, or he was the director of the Grifties. He gave me producer credit. All I did was like gather clips and shit. But no, Taylor's the man. Taylor, we were at the pool party, and Taylor like started to like really question me on some of the stuff because he's coming around, but he's not fully bought in on the whole like anarchy thing. And I noticed that Canon Hotep was off to the side, off to my right. And he was listening and he was chiming in from time to time in that conversation. I saw you over there. So without further ado, people, if you have epilepsy or any other seizure history, do not stare at this screen. Close your eyes. I will tell you when you can open your eyes because here it comes.
Directly in the center of the screen.
This is the Aquarian Anarchy Indoctrination Chamber. Okay, you can open your eyes back. You can open your eyes back now. We are back now. So now you are in the chamber and you do not get released until you have either agreed with us or convinced us otherwise. So I will let Marcus start us off this week with, we haven't done this in a while because we've either had like full-blown anarchists on the channel or we ran out of time.
Right.
We have enough time, so we want to try to see if we can either convert you or figure out if you're already one of us. So Marcus, begin.
I have my suspicions. So I guess one of the things that we've not really gone towards, and a lot of people that consider themselves conservatives, this would be one of the places that they kind of differentiate themselves with us. Cannon, what's your opinion on what the United States government should do outside of the country? Like, what do you think foreign policy should look like to a free country?
I don't think we should have foreign policy. I think we should just worry about us. Simple as that. Anybody step to us, we bust that ass, and then we keep it moving. If we do anything for any other country, they need to fucking pay us.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Instead of doing shit for other countries.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't go spend 20 years in a country and then like send $6 billion to Afghan refugees after we bring them over here first class and we have a bunch of Haitians at the border.
All I'm saying is if you're going to be a Marine or a Navy SEAL, you need to be making at least 6 to 7 figures like you're a mercenary out this bitch. Because like the stuff that we do for other countries, they need to pay us for that, period. Full stop. But other than that, I mean, no, worry about America. No other country fucking come to our aid if some shit happen here. Like, no, foreign policy is bullshit. Simple as that. You want to trade with us, trade with us. But if you like, we're not coming over there to help you protect you. You know, if you want to buy some weapons from us, if you want us to come train your people, we need to get paid for that. Simple as that.
For sure. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Do you think that we should all wholeheartedly give away all of our education to the school system and the place that made us slaves?
You can't bait the question like that, Nico. You're like, so the public
So
school
Nico just said,
sucks.
so do you want the chains on your hands or on your feet?
Right.
Which one is it that you
I
want?
retract that last part of my question.
Oh, you all right. Objection, leading the witness.
So I'm big on, like, for example, my daughter comes home to tell me whatever she learned about in school. If it's something I disagree with, I kind of debrief her on it, and I kind of correct the course there. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of parents need to do that more often. You know, because we already see what's coming down the pipe in school. We already see it. You know, they got in what California teaching kids like in fucking kindergarten and first grade is okay to fucking touch yourself. It feels good. Like they're not thinking about that shit at 5.
No.
You know, it's shit like that. You know, so. My daughter comes home, my kids come home saying, hey, we learned this in school or whatever. You know, my daughter can come home, like, I think she low-key might be Hotep. She come home like, Dad, this shit ain't make sense. You know, and I'll listen to what she say. And
that's how my kids are. My kids, they're like, look at this bullshit my teacher showed us today in class. And I'm like, all right.
You know, and I tell her, you know, and I'll give it to her straight, you know.
So with that California thing, here's an interesting thing I just thought about, like when you said that. So you have, on the one hand, they have this, I don't know, sort of like sexual education stuff that is some weird shit in a lot of ways for like age appropriateness, you know, sort of levels. You combine that with the fact that now Gavin Newsom comes out and he's saying that like they should mandate the jab for, you know, whatever age group is approved. Right. Yeah. So that's just going to move. That number is just going to move down closer and closer to kindergarten. Right.
There's going to be one. There's going to be with fucking hepatitis. And, you know what I mean? When the kid, and that's a fucking stripper's disease. You know what I mean? Like,
well, right. And so here's the thing. So you combine those two things. So now you're teaching kids about sexual shit that's age inappropriate, combined with we get to stick this shit in you, and you have to do it in order to come to school. Like, at some point. Is it a slippery slope to say that those two lines might blur and that you might end up with some other weird shit down the road? But anyway, I don't want to get into a whole thing. It's something that made me think about. I do want to touch on this issue of the border, though, because I think this is a point where we might actually like start to touch on where there might be some divergence, and I want to see where like the real principles lie. Okay, so when it comes to the border. I know that you've put out some videos and stuff like that on like the situation down there and like Kamala Harris's involvement there and some of the other stuff with Border Patrol and like Trump versus the current administration, things like that. What is your perspective on how the U.S. border should be handled relative to folks trying to come over just to escape something and maybe have a little more freedom, at least in their own mind?
Honestly, I've been for build the wall since Obama said build the wall in 2008. You know what I mean? I'm all for people coming over here, you know, start anew, you know. But you got to do it the right way, simple as that, you know, because the reason I say that, you know, now if this was some country where we just, you know, it was the Garden of Eden and everything was free, it was all the food and this and that, you know, no cost to nobody, there was no hidden fees and shit like that. I'm all for it. Okay. All right. But that ain't what it is. You know, your ass coming across that border illegally and I still got to pay for you and all this other shit. That's a problem for me. You coming across the border and I'm trying to get a job and I go interview for this job, and I say I want $20 an hour for this job, but then you come across the border because that same job over there, they paying $15 an hour for, and you accept, that messes me up. So as far as like immigration and stuff like that, it's got to be done legally, in my opinion. You got to pay taxes just like I'm paying taxes. You can't skate the system, and it's not fair for the people that is in line, that's waiting, that's got to do that 6 years and the fucking dumb class and all that other shit.
Sure. It sounds like to me that you have a very similar kind of view on it to what Maj Toure said. And he said that that more or less, he agrees largely, because I don't believe that there are any legitimate borders except for private property borders, and everything else is just imaginary lines on the ground. And really, private property borders are only defendable by an individual, and so those are kind of iffy anyway. But he also said that largely that he believed that was true, because one of the things that people like to talk about is Milton Friedman talked about that that you can't have a welfare state and open borders at the same time.
Exactly.
And that's absolutely true. And most people want to try to go after the open border side instead of the welfare state.
Right.
And so it sounds like to me that you're kind of in that same boat where you're looking at it as a realistic goal.
Okay.
Yeah, because you said, you'd like to see the Garden of Eden kind of thing. But, the reality is, if we have an influx of immigrants that are unskilled workers, that means that our unskilled workers are going to be, either getting less money or those kinds of things. I buy all that. And to me, I agree that possibly, again, I personally believe that we need that that none of these borders are legitimate because they're enforced by a territorial monopoly on force and violence, which is what a state is, and so and that's illegitimate. But we can't just suddenly open the borders when somebody can come in and suddenly get that looking at like, hey, where's my handout? I need give me more money than McDonald's can pay me, because we're dealing with our people not being able to work at McDonald's now, much less
Right.
if we let everybody in the world come in. So I get all that. Is that an accurate representation of what you're saying?
So it's a yes and no. So for example, if you make it here and you don't get fucking caught, more power to you. If your ass get caught, come across that border and they hem you up and take you back, then that's just what it is. You got charges to the game. You know what I mean? But the thing about, like what you said, the welfare state, man, like you can't, like you said, you can't have open borders and free in the welfare state. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Simple as that. Period. But I also agree that it's just an imaginary line. But if that's what the rules of engagement is, and that, Mexico agreed with America, okay, this is where the fuck we're not going to cross right here. You know what I mean? That's the rules of engagement. So now you got to abide by those rules of engagement. If you don't, then we're going to have to take action against that. You know what I mean? So I always thought that the easiest way to do it was go ahead, build that wall, get some surveillance, have a fucking front door, allow people to come over. But then when you got an administration like this promising shit to people who ain't even here yet, causing that massive influx down there,
and then shutting it off.
Then shutting it off.
Yeah,
once you
having people just clamoring down there for empty space or limited space that doesn't really exist. Yeah. So what's interesting? So I guess my little pushback would be, and that's why I brought the issue up, because I know that this would be. We're friends. We are allies. We agree on a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be fun if we didn't disagree a little bit on some stuff. My contention with the whole border thing is that while I completely agree and understand under the circumstance, like what Marcus was saying, when you have this massive welfare warfare state, and then you also have this this convenient, we're going to bring these people in, but not these people. And we're going to just massively let these people come in, and they don't have to have this.
Nobody bitches about the Canadian border.
This bug spray, right? Nobody bitches about the Canadian border. We have this massive bug spray like oversight that we don't even pay attention to what they're coming over with or without. Also, we don't care what their background is or anything else. We're just going to let random people come in. But then we have like this other thing where it's like all the Haitians have to go back. That's it. It starts to make you ask questions about like what the real motivations with some of this stuff is. And my pushback, I guess, would be on the wall thing. I go back to Ron Paul, where, I know, right? I'm sorry, Nico. Look, I love Haitians. I wish there were more of y'all here.
They just never got a plate. That's all. They just mad.
So what Ron Paul said about a wall is you have to be very careful because these walls begin as a way to keep the bad guys out and they end as a way to keep you in. And the way things are going right now, I want to ask everybody a very serious question.
I see what you're saying.
If you follow this shit to its logical conclusion, where we are right now, this is shit Ron Paul said 10 years ago.
Yeah. Okay, I got you on that. I can agree with that.
Do you want a wall that now you have to try to scale that wall to get out this motherfucker?
Right.
Yeah.
How you like your wall now? That's all I'm gonna say. Like
I got you.
So we
Chad
gotta
may be only saying that, but I got something to say to it.
Go ahead.
I just noticed, and this is a conspiracy theory, so I need my own kufi. But here in Indianapolis, here in Indianapolis, there is a Amtrak station, and there's a big deal about that they're going to start carting people off. And one of the proofs is that at that Amtrak station, if you go, and it's in southern part of Indianapolis, long story short, most people won't know where it's at, southern part. Anyway, if you go look at it, the barbed wire is facing inward. In other words, like here's where the people are inside the building.
Yeah.
And the barbed wire is facing that way.
When it's facing inward, it's meant to keep people inside.
Correct. And so that means that whatever they're doing with this Amtrak station that really isn't there for because nobody's riding Amtrak. It just is what it is. Mm-hmm. But if they had camps in this state, and again, I'm full goofy here. I got it on. Bottom line is, if they're doing that there, they're looking at caging people, and they're looking at caging folks, and I'm with Ron Paul in that level. But I think that the place we can come together with that is, come on, we shouldn't be paying people to not work. That's true. At the end of the day,
look, hey, I said this. So we had the Hotep Nation Patreon, whatever, Zoom chat last night or whatever. And I was telling him, so I tweeted this out like a few days ago. Like, man, I got to be careful. UBI is about to become UB hours because
that's right.
Because all they have to do is like, all right, you can't get a job, and now you're okay with not. It's like, it's okay though, because now I got my UBI check. I'm going to get my unemployment or my whatever. And then they're like, oh, by the way, that unemployment, that UBI, you also have to get the stab for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now how you going to rock?
And I've been saying that a lot. I say it to everybody. Like, social credit's here. We see it. It's here already.
Yep.
And and I used to say it years ago. Like I said, I used to rail about this stuff before I even started all of this. And I used to say that. I said, so how would you feel? I said, okay. I said, they want universal housing. Okay, cool. I said, they want a car share system so people don't have to buy cars. Oh, okay. All right, cool. I got you. So what happens when you speak out against the government and they don't like it?
They take that shit away.
They take that shit away, and now you're an outcast. Now you're fucking under some bridge somewhere.
Culture shit real.
Right. I said, but that's where shit goes. I said, you learn that when you do some shit your parents don't like, and they fucking take the keys to your car because it's not your fucking car, it's their car. You know what I mean?
And that's just on the benefit side of it.
Exactly.
On the other side of it is, who you getting the car from?
Right. Who you getting the whatever it is. Healthcare is a natural right. Food is a natural right. Big Daddy government. What slave is picking up the food is picking the food for you? Mm-hmm.
Where are you getting your avocados and your peaches and your whatever the fuck else from
all
so that you can have your free food?
From all the people that can be put in the gulags for not paying, for not helping. They got some old brother where art thou shit where you out there in the fields, you know, because you
brother, where art thou?
because you ain't want to get the shot, or you said some shit against fucking dictator Kamala or something like that. That's where it comes from.
You see it. Yeah.
Yeah. You see what they say. We say Hillary was using jail people.
Prisoners.
She was
labor.
using the 13th Amendment to hire her own free gardening.
You know what's crazy though? I told my dad about that. I'm like, Dad, like you're voting for a woman who's got like the working Negro spirituals like outside her car, like crib, you know, trying to make sure the garden's all pressed.
Legit slaves. Like she's still
I was wondering, I'm like, you're still voting for her? He was like, but the guy across the street from her is just so diabolical. And I'm like, oh boy.
He tweeted some mean stuff. And I don't, I'll be the first one to admit, Marcus knows. Marcus is the same way. Like, we don't fuck with Trump that way.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
no.
But
Trump K.
But Hillary and Biden and Kamala, I mean, goddamn, like this is like in a certain sense, like they really made you have to think, like, do I want the hot poker in my eyeball or do I want it in my ear? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like
the thing is they've got
2 ears and 2 eyes. I don't know which one would hurt worse and which one I need more. It really makes the decision tough.
Right. They've got us, what they've got us doing. I said this earlier on Twitter, like a couple days ago, is just because you say something, and I'm going to say it, just because you say Hitler is better than Mao doesn't make Hitler a good guy.
No.
You know?
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
At some point, they rank somewhere on the ranking system, and you have to recognize that ranking.
And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, look, I said, I'm looking at what the fuck how I can benefit from each person, and who I can benefit from the most is who I kind of roll with. Period. I don't care what the fuck they said or all this other shit. If I'm looking at them and they walk, you know, and I can benefit from what they're doing, looking at their track record, you know, then that's what it is. Everything, it should be all subjective. I mean, objective. It should all be objective, but nobody looks at it objectively. It's all a popularity thing.
You see what Cash and Cam said? He said right now they're giving $1,000 bonus to people who get jabbed because they can't mandate it at our company. So a lot of those conservative ink dudes took that check. There you go.
I guarantee it. I guarantee it, and especially because California is fucking expensive as fuck. Like $1,000 is a day of daycare. You know what I mean?
Right. That's why I live in Indiana.
Day of daycare.
It's a day. No, I'm not lying. One of my friends lives in Cali, and she said she was looking and they're putting her kid in the daycare, and she was like, "Yo," she said it's $1,020 for 2 days.
What the hell?
I almost dropped the phone and said, "Yo, that's crazy."
Yeah. And then people want to know why people aren't going to work.
Right. Right.
You know,
I was like, dang.
So one fine, I kind of want to, maybe we can do another round around with the indoctrination chamber, but where do you stand on taxes? What do you think about that?
Shit should go by the wayside. Simple as that. Like I don't agree with the end of the year annual fucking taxes. So it's like you taking taxes out of my check all fucking year, and then at the end of the year you go, you ain't paying enough. You know what I mean? Give me another, like that's just that happened to me this past year. You know what I mean? I mean, if I did a video on it on Twitter, like, you know, I said I ain't about to go ball out. I'm about to go fucking pay taxes. Like I pay taxes all year round, and then y'all tell me that's not enough taxes, and then I gotta go give you more taxes at the end of the year. You know what I mean? I don't like taxation and stuff. Simple as that.
Bingo.
You know, period. Like now, in some aspects, okay, you want to do a payroll tax where you take a certain amount of money out of the check at, you know, every paycheck. All right, cool. That should be the end of it.
Yeah. Well, and it should be
though, at that point.
Yeah, it's still that's what I was going to say.
It's still theft. Yeah, you know,
whether you theft on a schedule that you like know how to plan by.
Right. You just tap me on the shoulder and ask you politely for it. You
right. It's the same thing as the mafia coming and extorting.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. You know, like I get some of the arguments about, you know, infrastructure and shit like that, but at the same time, like no, like it's just theft. Period.
All that shit can be paid for other ways, though.
It can be.
Exactly.
It can be. It can be. The taxes you pay on potato chips or some shit when you go to the market, you know, shit like that, you know. But as far as taxing an individual, no, get that out of here.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, all taxes are theft. But if at the same time, if my community passes out a thing says if you're going to be, taking advantage of our electrical system, we're going to need you to pay an extra $20 for this, this, and this, and we're going to put it all towards paying. Because you're with our electrical system. And if you can come up with your own electrical system, you don't have to buy into ours. That's fine. But we're going to take $20 and we're going to take $20 from your bill every month. And we're going to help pay the poor kids in town to have, ring dings at lunch or whatever it is. Some kind of local project or feeding kids or something like that. I'd be like, right on, sign me up, hook me up for that $20 every month for me to help the local kids. I'm all about that. What I have a problem with is they don't do that. What they do is they say we're gonna tax you and we're gonna feed kids. They take $1 from you to pay for the kids. They take 99 cents of it, put it in their motherfucking pocket, and then they take a half a penny and they send it overseas to somebody else. And then they take another quarter of a penny and they bomb the shit out of some people that happen to be brown. And then
actually, that's more of where the 99 cents is. The bombing is like way more than a quarter of a penny.
Right.
I'm just gonna say it's
Right.
way more than a quarter. But no, but you're right. Like the other thing is too, the competition in those, like if it was something where like your electrical company was like, hey, it's going to cost $20 extra if you want this service.
Right.
What the system that we currently have is there is no other choice. This is what you get to do. Take it or leave it. Oh, by the way, you can't leave it because you don't get electricity if you don't pay this.
I mean, we've allowed monopolies.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. It's essentially monopolies, and they make it to where alternatives are illegal or are regulated either out of existence completely de facto, or they're made so difficult, so expensive that nobody bothers to make the alternatives because they made it to where the barrier of entry is incredibly high.
Just like remember the EpiPen when the EpiPen had got that law passed where they was the only one that could make that shit, and it went from like $10 to $100 a pen.
Yeah,
Like,
in the United States.
Yeah.
What was that guy who did the?
It's Dan. Going across the border.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dan Berman. No, but I'm saying, who was the guy who did? There was another one that it was like either an HIV treatment.
Yeah, it was HIV treatment. Yeah, that
was like that dude just like was like, yeah, we're gonna charge $700 for this shit.
Yeah, it was something crazy. I was like, geez, nobody can make it.
Right. And what I was talking about is our friend Dan Berman, who is Dan Taxation and Theft Berman. If you haven't checked him out, Cannon, you should. He's awesome. That dude's probably one of the smartest people I have ever met. But that dude, what he does is he goes down and he tells people this. I'm not like spoiling his secret. He goes down across the border and buys the EpiPens for $10 and brings it back across the border and hands them out to motherfuckers.
Nice.
Because
nice.
Yeah. So
like
he's a drug dealer.
Hey, Robin Hood out this motherfucker. That's what it is. Yeah. But that's but yeah, you're right about that. I mean,
well, Nico, did you have another question for Cannon before we release him from the chamber?
Going to be placed on leaving your productivity and your like food services to the people who. Like, would you leave it to solely Walmart to do that? And then my other question was going to be based upon something with work, but let's go to the original. The original one would you solely leave all of the factors of providing to the government?
No, not at all. Why would I do that? You know what I mean? Like, we're going to have Soylent Green soon. You know what I mean? Like that's where we're going at. Because they're putting so much shit in. They're trying to inject some shit into our body now we don't agree with. So why would I leave it up to the government to put what's the shit from Idiocracy?
Brondo.
Because
it's got electrolytes.
Right. They're gonna start giving us fucking Brondo and shit. You know what I mean? With our Soylent Green, because they got electrolytes and shit in it. No, it shouldn't. It should be left.
That's what the body needs.
So no, I would definitely not leave it up to Big Daddy government, to feed me. That's why I never understood like the government cheese and the peanut butter and this and that. Like, how about more workforce or trade schools,
I'll say
stuff
this.
like that. Teach people how to eat, not feed them.
I have a tremendous amount of respect for the industriousness of the kids who used to come in. I used to work at a grocery store in the 90s when I was in high school. And these kids would come in, no lie. They would bring like 10 $1 food stamps. All right.
Mm-hmm.
They would each buy a quarter bag of chips. It was like 27 cents after tax.
Mm-hmm.
They'd get 73 cents change. So they walk out of there with $7.30 in hard money.
That's how
you can do all kind of different shit. You can do all kind of different. That was back before they went with the EBT and all the other stuff where they were like, they caught up and they're like, hey, wait a second. And I want everybody to realize that the reason I bring that up is because this path to like this digital currency and how much everybody relies on credit cards now and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
That's where this shit is headed to where like they're seeing like their little gaps, the little loopholes that people have found.
Yep.
And they're like, they're finding ways to close those gaps.
What they say, anybody that got over $600 in like they Cash App, they want to know that shit.
There you go.
You know what I mean? That's crazy. Yep. And then you got like China where I think what is it? Like they got homeless people that got like, I think it's like Payway, I think is their equivalent.
WeChat.
They got that shit on like their WhatsApp. Cardboard, like they got their WeChat name on their cardboard. You know what I mean? You can't give them $1, just send it to their WeChat. Like I think like they're 90 something % paperless.
Yep.
They don't have any physical money right now.
No, we are literally going demolition man at this rate.
Yeah, and we're right behind them. And now they want to see who got more than $600 in they Cash App. And it's like, what you want? Like, you know what I mean? It's just crazy. So it's getting real draconian. It's getting real 1984ish, and there's a lot of people that are just not paying attention. Like you said, they're looking at what the left hand doing, not seeing what the right hand up to.
There you go. So with that, everybody look away from the screen, especially if you have any.
In the center of the screen.
No, stop, Marcus. Stop trying to give people seizures. Here goes.
So like
you have been released
because of Marcus and like
we're fine.
No,
we're gonna make sure we don't get sued.
Somebody like passes out there and just
hey man, I'm not trying to give people seizures. I'm trying to get them to boogie.
So Marcus wanted to tap into spiritual issues or topics with Canon Hotep before I took us into the indoctrination chamber. We are now out. You have been released.
And by the way, just to kind of,
I think you passed.
That's what I was going to say.
You're on our side, so
I appreciate it.
Sure. and that's why we use the term anarch better. Because here, let me ask you this: we could make this whole indoctrination.
It would be a lot faster,
a lot easier.
That's right.
With this question, Cannon,
mm-hmm.
Do you own yourself, or are you a slave to someone else?
I'm the sole proprietor of me.
Right. Then that makes you an anarch, because an anarch is a person who rules themselves, and you are not ruled by other people. And so therefore you are an anarch. But it's more fun to dig into the issues and shit.
But it does start to get into some of those issues like, all right, so what about other people? Do they get to own themselves and rule themselves too? And so that's where, because I think sometimes people think that their freedom is about themselves, but they don't see but like when I start to push some of these different ideas and follow them to their logical conclusions, I end up in a place where I have to force somebody else to do something that they don't want to do, or prevent them from doing something they want to do in order to get my way. And at that point, that's where like it's about anarch is about ruling yourself, but also recognizing the self-rule of others.
Yeah. Like my father said he still said to this day, he's been in sales forever.
Mm-hmm.
He always said it. He said, there's some exceptions, but mainly people want to be told what to do. Period.
That's
unfortunately.
You know what I mean? Some people want to be ruled. People want you to tell them what they need.
Yep.
And that they can't do it without you.
Or they're willing to, like Chad was talking about earlier, they're willing to give up that freedom so they can go see their football game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
They need that Instagram shot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where I wanted to go with religion is we talk about religious stuff, and one of the things that I think is getting past all of this nonsense that we're facing in our world is having a faith in God and a looking past the physical and the financial issues. I think that getting at the heart of humanity means getting to the heart of God. Where is your heart at, man? Where's your soul? What do you think about God, and where are you at with that?
So I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian. I've been baptized since I was 12 years old. I believe Jesus died on the cross for our sins. I believe without religion, you have no morality, and but I also believe that, even though I don't agree with other religions, if it makes you a better person, more power to you.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. One of the things that I talked about with Aaron yesterday, who's a Seventh-day Adventist minister, one of the things we talked about outside of the craziness that's going on in the world and those kinds of things is we talked about religion. And one of the things that I found interesting in our conversation is that if some theologian were to look at me and be looking at what I actually believe and how I actually do shit, they would say I was a Christian. Because I do follow the tenets that Jesus Christ professed and did put out. I just happen to also believe in crazy Afro-Caribbean gods that give me some other advice. And so for me, being a non-Christian doesn't mean that I can't find the validity in what you're talking about. I can't find, I mean, my eyes see revelations in front of me. I would be an idiot if I didn't see it.
So you're saying half of the world is idiots or more because they don't see it?
Like
I am saying that half the world are idiots.
I lied to you not, man. You're right, but I lied to you not. So my dad, right? Like I said, he thinks this is the mark of the beast. What's happening right now? My father has money. He do whatever he wants. Literally has his pickup truck. He took his pickup truck to get wrapped. When they got out of the shop, he sends me a video. He literally has the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse superimposed on the side of his truck.
Wow.
And on because it's a F-350, so then on the fairings of the dually, you got people being ascended into heaven. Wow. And on the back of it is Jesus and the 2 thieves that was on the cross next to him with John 3:16 going across it.
When can we interview your dad?
Right.
You know what? Next time I come on, I will bring him with me.
Right on, man.
You know what I
Bro,
mean?
that is fucking epic. Oh my god.
I'm not like he thinks this is we're here. That's what he thinks. He thinks we are here, and shit is about to hit the fan.
No,
and if people ain't ready, is going to be a problem.
It's funny, like there are people who talk about different issues and everything, and there's always, it's always this like derisive sort of snide remark that people will make about each other or against each other about like, is this the hill you're willing to die on or whatever? Yeah. When it comes to, I have finally gotten to that moment after like decades of people asking that question where the answer is absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
I will die on this hill.
Yeah. Yeah.
With like I said, in my hand.
Whatever decisions people make, that's what you make. All I'm here to do when I do my videos is give you my information, give you how I feel, give you my I'm not just talking out the side of my neck. I give you the receipts for it. And if at the end of my videos or whatever, you still feel the way you feel, then that's what it is on you. It's on you, I can bring you to the water, but I can't make you drink.
So Nico, you got anything?
No, I was
on the spirituality tip.
Well, it's kind of sort of not really, because I have a I guess a plain viewpoint on Christianity, and not just Christianity, but Catholicism as well, because I've just been pushed into it so much as a child that I was like, and I just finished watching a show called Midnight Mass on Netflix. Spending a great time with my life, but it
recreation's good, man.
it like puts a few things in perspective on how has anybody seen it? By the way,
I haven't
has
seen it.
anybody
No.
seen it?
Now
I
you got
heard
me.
about
You
it,
got
but
my
I haven't
interest
watched
peaked.
it.
Well, if everybody is okay with, well, I know
That's
Marcus,
fine.
you'd probably be okay, but if it's a horror movie or not horror, it's not scary. No, I mean, I'm not a pussy either, so it's like, but it's not scary. But it puts things in perspective. So I'm gonna ruin the show. So sorry everybody who is watching at this point.
I
Yeah, it's
probably
a
won't
fat
watch it
This
ass
is your
anyway.
spoiler.
spoiler alert. Eject now if you're gonna be
Yeah,
spoiled. But
but
go ahead,
all in
Nico.
all, the show presents a vampire being like Christ. He old guy went basically to the same area that Jesus went to, and he got lost in these caves, and then he brought this vampire who gave him his youth and all that, and brought it over to his island, and some funny shit happens there. So it's just even with everything going on, and with uh religion kind of being a big part, and how there's a lot of what is it what is it environmental turbulence going on. I personally think that this shit is just cycles that we're going through. People don't understand that like everything we live through is a fucking cycle. So why wouldn't the earth have a destruction cycle? Why wouldn't it have a give? Why wouldn't it have a recreation reset button?
Mayans
Like,
talked about that.
you feel me?
I agree with you, because I say that to people about the global warming or climate change, what the fuck you want to call it. I'm like we ain't been here, in my opinion, we haven't been here that long.
No.
So we
There's
don't
been
know
a
if this
massive
is
cooling cycle for a long fucking time.
right.
Dude.
So I'm like, what if this is just this is what the Earth do?
And
This is what the Earth do.
people trying to tell me like, oh well, humans are speeding up the cause. I'm like, are you fucking dumbasses or what? There's goddamn volcanoes back in the day that emitted 2,000, 3,000 times worse emission and fucking up the clouds, but you don't see everything fucking dead on this planet now, do you?
I go more simple minded than that. I go with Larry the Cable Guy, where he said, all right, so what ended the first ice age? He's like, he said, were the dinosaurs driving Range Rovers?
Right.
So that's it. Like when I heard that, I was like, I'm done. Like
and I'm like, what if it's just what it does? It's just a cycle. Maybe it's a 3,000 year cycle.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Cycle.
Period. Like we don't know.
Yeah.
You're just taking a fucking guess. That's all science does. Is takes a guess. Then when
The
the
ice
shit's
core
wrong, they go
data-
back to the drawing board.
The ice core data suggests that like there are cycles that we have nothing to do with that suggests shit like this is going to happen
shit
anyway.
Just fucking happens. Like,
and it might be, we might have a tiny bit of influence on like
yeah,
the minutia of it, but not the grand cycle.
We're
it.
Too minute. We're too minute to have like too much of a real big impact. Like,
but hey,
we have to.
That's human ego, man.
And also to your in the aspect of religion, I think science and religion go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
It does.
A lot of people don't want to admit that. I think, they think that everything's
They're
fucking
not enemies.
magic and all this other stuff. I'm like, no. I said, what if the miracles that everybody described in the Bible weren't necessarily miracles, but it was just God's science?
Yeah, for sure.
I just consider magic alchemy. It's shit that we can't see.
Right.
It's just the mix of this and a mix of that, and bam.
And those people back then, they didn't know what the fuck it was. They just said that, and they was just like they just described it the best way they could.
Right.
Look, trust the science in like the 13th century or whatever would have said that rats spontaneously generated out of the corner where there was hay.
Right.
Not because rats like hay and they ended up there, but they actually thought that like if you had hay in the corner, it turned into rats.
Right.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's called spontaneous generation.
Right.
Look it up. I'm not fucking joking.
That's, I mean, I agree with that, and this is going to shock everybody, but I agree with Aleister Crowley on this one. He called one of his fraternities was called the AA or Aurum Ostrum, and they're like motto or whatever was the method of science and the goal of religion. The goal of religion is to find God. The method of science is by using, controlled experimentation. And that's what magic is controlled experimentation to try to get to the experience of God. So everybody, whatever religion they are, is practicing a form of magic by doing whatever it is that gets them to that. And it is about experimentation. And the problem that we have run into in the world today, and where atheists have an issue, is that they stopped fucking doing the experiments. They stopped investigating what the God meant and what caused and why can and those kinds of, they stopped asking why. And, any way that we're going to get to a better world in any way is going to come from us starting to ask those questions again, which are based in both science and religion. And because, religion gives you the end goal. You're looking for a meaning, a purpose in life.
Yeah.
Marcus froze up or something.
He's still going. Was this how it was?
Yeah, he's still talking, but
this is how you was with the King Randall.
Right, I know.
Okay,
I hated that. Man.
Am I back?
Yeah, there you are. There you are.
Let me tell
All
you
right.
something.
So what I was saying was that this is the with religion, what happens is that our goal should be to understand the universe. That is a religious idea. But what we should be doing is experimenting, trying, finding, looking, asking. And when we've got all of our governments, everyone around us, not only, trying to stop us from going to those places where we can find answers that traditional science doesn't have,
but tell us
not
we can
only
go to
are they
Burger King instead.
Right. They want you to go to Burger King instead, or Walmart.
Right.
And so they stop that, but they also stop any kind of, don't go down the rabbit hole. Don't go asking questions. Don't do that shit. So
what do they say? They said critical thinking is dangerous in this time. Like,
yeah. You thinking for yourself is bullshit. Stop it now.
Holy shit, man.
So it's been about 2 hours. Cannon, I want to say this has been a wonderful conversation, as I knew it would be. And, if anybody in our audience hasn't checked out your content, they should. The links are down below because, again, you offer thoughtful ideas, concise ideas. But also it's entertaining. I like watching your content because I learn something every time. And, I'm not somebody that's, just new to this shit. So if I'm learning some shit, they can learn some shit. So we need to get as many people as we can supporting people like you, who are out there introducing ideas, offering solutions. And, even when we don't agree, which I really think that we've got 99.9% of the shit that we agree on.
Right.
But when we disagree, let motherfuckers make their own decision. Figure it out for yourself.
Right. All we can do is put the information out there.
For sure.
And with that, so I will say this: I'm going to drop a little truth bomb on the people who are still here, because I see that we had quite a few people drop out over the last little few seconds there, when Marcus started to hint at a wrap. Mm-hmm. Here you go, people. I want you to listen to this. I want you to pay attention. All right, so your common sense, your critical thinking skills, thinking about that, thinking about the thing that we were talking about just a minute ago with like ice ages and that sort of stuff. I'm trying to use language that's going to make sure that we get to keep this channel and all that stuff. So thinking about that subject, okay, and thinking about how cyclical patterns can influence those sorts of things and where that stuff goes, and using your own common sense and your own intuition to understand what might contribute to things and what might have a prevailing, an overwhelming contribution to things versus a minute contribution to things. I'm old enough. I'm almost 48 years old. I'm old enough to remember a time where we were told that by now, like Florida would be underwater, California would be underwater, all this kind of shit. I also, right before I was born, I know I've seen the microfiches and everything else of these articles that we were going to be in an ice age. These are from the 70s, these articles, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I know these things. So you have these two competing ideologies that now have evolved into what we have now. And I want you to recognize that the same science that told you those things and has predicted nothing that has come true. And I want you to compare that to the people who have told you things that have come true. Things that you were told were spiral con theories, okay, before. And now those things are right in front of your face.
Right.
Things that we were told months ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago, were wacko nut job quackery that are now like right in front of your face. They're on your doorstep. Those people who have been telling you that stuff have also been telling you about the data with some of these other things and how some of the data are manipulated and how these, whether it's a hockey stick or whatever other kind of graph that you might have, all of this stuff has been done with manipulation and emotion.
Yep.
Just recognize and make sure that what you are doing is continuing to appeal to compassion, love, and solutions. And don't get bogged down in, because the emotions don't give a fuck about your facts.
That's right.
So trying to convince people that the facts that you have are better than their facts is not reaching. You see it now. Like there are these little videos in there and stuff out there where the propaganda machine is telling people how to use emotion to appeal to you.
Yep.
Recognize that and make sure that when you respond, you aren't doing so in a way that drives people away and makes people think you're a wacko and a quack job, and helps them to be invited to look at things in a different perspective.
Right.
Because where we are right now is very soon there's going to come a time where people are going to have to choose whether they want to point a finger that will lead to someone being beaten or killed, or not pointing that finger because they have compassion for that person. Do you want to be the person who gets the finger pointed because they were belligerent and they were an asshole? Or do you want to be the person who they don't tell whoever it is where you are because you were compassionate and you offered help? That's it. I'm done.
For sure.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So just to kind of wrap up, again, all of the links are down below. Cannon, is there anything you'd like to add to anything we've said, particularly about your channel and stuff like that? You want to drop any plugs, anything like that?
Honestly, no. You can catch me on Hotep's Been Told You when I do my segments. Also, like I said, I got a podcast coming out with my cousin. He was in the chat, Brian. Other than that, no, you can catch me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I got a Twitch, but I don't play video games like that anymore. At Cannon Hotep on everything.
Yeah, and I got your I got your YouTube, your Instagram, and your Twitter in the description below. So
Yeah,
y'all go follow. Yeah, y'all go follow Cannon. Go subscribe to his channel. Check him out. And look, I realized what I did there at the end was kind of a downer a little bit, maybe for some people. But I really I want everybody to recognize we have to be the people who we want. When you look at some of these people who are wishing people dead, and you look at it and you say, that is abhorrent. I'm just asking you, don't be that person.
Right.
We can't be that person and then chastise that person.
That's right.
You have to be, as cliche as it may sound, be the change you want to see. Be the example. that you
Right.
want people to follow. Because if you're not
Right.
the example you want people to follow, we end up where we are. Like I look at the world. And my wife and I were talking about this last night. It's like, God damn, man! Like this is so. I hate that. Like I was looking at this video of this, and there's just. I mean, I'm gonna get a little choked up. I was looking at this video earlier. My daughter's 18. You know, she was a toddler. She was a baby. We used to watch. She doesn't even remember it. But there's like this little theme song or whatever that the show closes with, and it's like it's got like this hopeful like look, we're leaving each other now, but you know it's cool because now you're gonna go follow your dreams, and you know I'm whatever, you know, we're departing. That it was like a farewell, but a happy farewell sort of song. And I watched that today. Like it just came to me. I don't remember where it came from, but like I looked it up, and like I watched it, and dude, it hit me. It's like, bro, this shit's all a fucking lie in here. Because like I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm trying to search for, holy shit, this is the promise that I had for her 15, 18 years ago when she was a baby to a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
And now, just in a year and a half, 2 years, so much of that stuff has just been stripped away, and they've made you make a choice. Like, do you want your body autonomy, or do you want the shit that you thought you were entitled to? The luxuries and the experiences, and you know, going to college, being a freshman in college, and all this other kind of stuff that I went through and I grew up with and was fun. College is also bullshit, but there were certain experiences that were cool. And I came to grips with like, holy fuck, like they have like stripped this shit away from us.
Yeah.
You know, and they stripped it away from the next generation or two.
We'll take it back.
And so, right. And so that's where the hope came in, is that I said, but I am certain that this is the dawn of like a golden age where we win and things turn a corner. Yes. And but it's hard. It's hard to tell an 18-year-old like, hey, hold the line, stay in the fight, because I don't know, 20 years from now, you know, you might be able to like see the promise that you thought you were going to see now. It's hard. It's very hard.
Nah, I actually had a moment with my brother yesterday. I don't usually get to see them. They're always out in the suburbs. So like with my our cousin's birthday being yesterday, I brought him over and me and him were talking, and I was like, you know, William, you're gonna recall me as being probably a fucking whack job, somebody crazy, and just like somebody who just spews shit. But I want you to understand that you're gonna see me as somebody who knew what the fuck they were talking about as well. And
planting seeds.
One thing for sure is that we gonna be straight. I'm gonna make sure that me and generations to come and the ones after us is gonna be standing fucking tall. I will not. What my grandmother did, I cannot allow myself to be a failure in any regards. And if that means also, you know, laying down my fucking life to make sure that they see that there's a better and much smarter and brighter future, then fuck it, I'll do it. You know, it's the necessary sacrifices that we have to do, that what true men are. And you know, don't have the greatest shining lights of what true men are in my family. You're gonna have to represent it one way or fucking another.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I know where you come from with that. There's but I don't want to say there's hope, because hope leads to hopelessness. There is a drive and desire. There is the right. You have your right as a fucking human. As a person who came to this, you have your right to stand up and make sure you foresee the best possible future. Because at the end of the day, life is life, and it'll hit you with the mean ass uppercut. But it's all about how you move through that uppercut. Do you use your shoulder to block it, or do you just take this bitch on your chin and go out? You feel me? There's so many ways of fighting. Keep fighting. Keep fucking fighting. So
stand up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sad part is a lot of people don't got that resolve anymore.
No.
but a lot of more people are getting it. As much as again,
drawing it out of people for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, I've said this a billion times. About 150 years ago, Lysander Spooner was all by himself talking about the Constitution ain't shit, and telling people, hey, you got to defend yourself. You got to be your own person, and you can't rely on government. And he was all by himself. There are hundreds of thousands to millions of us now. And by the time these fools get done doing their stupid shit, we're going to be definitely in the tens of millions. We are starting to see the turn. We're seeing a turn towards freedom, towards ideas. And people say, oh, how can you see that? Because if they are telling you that they're not getting 70% of the people, they are not getting 50 because they are fucking liars.
Right. You're right.
Facts. I was about to say, I was like, man, if they tell like all the shit with the R and the C and the P testing, like that, the way that shit is like so easy to manipulate. It's
right,
man. You can't help but think that like the other stuff, they're like, look, man, just say it's this much. We'll just manipulate the age groups, and we'll like say that it's like a certain group of people. Like, well, yeah, obviously we're not counting those people. They don't, like when they talk about like, well, so and so got this much of the vote. It's like, well, they don't show you how many people who are eligible and even maybe registered to vote who were like, fuck both these people. I ain't even getting out the house.
Right. Right.
because I have recognized it don't make a fuck which one of them wins. Like I think the Trump Hillary election, it was like 46% voted.
Yeah.
Like, what does that tell you?
Thank you, Cassius Game.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you, Cassius. This is good shit.
All right, guys. Well, I think it's about time to wrap up.
Awesome,
We're
man.
working on 2.5
I know. This is good. This was fun. We knew we were gonna have fun, and
Sure.
I think it got maybe a little deeper. I think we were maybe. I was expecting to laugh more, but shit got heavy.
Good stuff.
Cannon brought the heavy lifting to us, and I appreciate that. For sure. But no, this was a necessary conversation. We very much appreciate you coming on, man.
Not a problem. I appreciate it, guys. I had a whole lot of fun.
See you later, brother.
Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
And everybody, stay free.
Stay free.
Big